kindergarten and is and often helps other students. My Lise loves to sing. She often will tell me she has a song to sing and she would like to share. She will just get up and sing away. My Lise is a very responsible girl who I can rely on as my go-to girl. As a teacher, it is a real pleasure and honor to have her in my class. My Lise is one amazing girl who is off to a great start in kindergarten.
Wow, what a great thing to say. Right. I might need your help with this in case they can't mute, but I just wanted to ask my Lise, what is her favorite song to sing? Does she have a favorite song to sing?
Did you hear that, my Lise? Do you have a favorite song? No.
She said no? All right, okay, we're not off the hook. So Mila, I'd like to know, what is your favorite thing to learn in kindergarten? Do you have a favorite part of the day?
You can unmute, Mila.
He said numbers.
That's what I was just going to ask, numbers. So,
Yeah,
numbers.
yeah, sit down.
Number. She count to 120.
She said to count to 120.
Yeah.
You keep that up. We need young ladies like you to be very good at their numbers. So I hope you keep that up.
Talk to them.
And thank you. So do we have something for
Thank
them?
you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. They got a certificate and they had a picnic last
Oh,
Friday.
okay, great. Okay. All right. Hey, thank you guys for coming. I hope you come in person sometime to see us.
Ah, thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Well, we didn't get a group shot. Okay, so I guess Turner. Hey, you. Come on out. Let's see. Well, I wonder where the oh no, there's nobody. There's very few people online anyway, so you can sit right here, I guess.
I have my back to them.
Oh,
Well, this is Michelle. This is our student of the month. I'm Miss Mari, and I'm her second grade teacher. And I chose Michelle because not only does she follow the Tiger Roars, she's very responsible. She has a great attitude every day. She's safe and respectful. She works hard every day in my ELA and math, along with science and social studies. We're on rocks and pebbles and silt right now, and she gets in there and she does the experiments and she asks lots of questions. Okay. She likes to get involved. I mean, even without being asked, she helps clean up. She gathers materials. She gets everything ready. She makes sure everything's in order. She's very tidy. So good job, Mom and Dad. You trained her well. She's a pleasure to have in class, and I'm real proud of her. So keep up the good work, Michelle, okay? So we chose you for Student of the Month.
We'll have your gift bag on Friday.
We'll have a party and a certificate and so you're a role model. So congratulations. It's a piece of paper. And those are taken in the pre-K over in Kelly.
your certificate is an official piece of paper that says you were the student of the month from Turner Intermediate School, and it will have the date and signatures on it from important people, and it's something you can always keep to say, it's proof you were student of the month in September of
Hang
2022.
it up in your house.
And you also get and we also have a little gift bag for you that you'll get on Friday.
Right?
All right? But I have a question for you. What's your favorite subject? Can you tell already in second grade? What's your favorite thing to learn? Is it math? That's great. That's great. You know, for a long time, people believed in the world that, I'm just going to come out and say this, that girls and ladies didn't care much about math. And so that's why we don't have a lot of women engineers or scientists. It's getting better. We don't have a lot of them now. So if you keep interested in math all the way through, other subjects too, but math, you could have an amazing life ahead of you doing something with science or engineering or helping to design bridges or buildings or spaceships. You never know. The sky's the limit, but you need math to be able to get there. So I'm glad that's your favorite subject. You keep that up, okay? Thank you.
job, baby. Accounting, yeah.
Now, I know you'd all just love to stay for 2 hours of a board meeting, but you don't have to. So we don't, we won't be offended if
Oh, we
we
didn't
leave.
get a picture. Did we get a picture?
Oh, can you-
Oh, Kelly got a picture. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. I'm glad you could be here. Glad you could be here for real. Instead of online.
I want to shake your hand.
He did, he went to shake.
Cool.
Yeah.
See you. All right. I love that. I guess you can tell. Okay. Let's see. Next week, we'll say that the board met in executive session. Tonight, we all received the September legal report from Mr. Hoffman. Pardon me? Yes, I did. Okay, we're going straight to that. Never mind. Any questions about the legal report though right now? If you do have any, get them to me or to the superintendent and we'll get them over. You know, David Mongelo, he's here tonight for math. So,
Thank you.
okay, so, but I forgot, the star of the night is Bill Cray, who's going to bring us up to date a bit on the project at, on the renovation project at Keller.
Good evening, everyone.
I don't,
Was engaged at the end of July, really started early August, had about, I don't know, 3 or 4 meetings with the architect. You know, maybe the place to start is what was designed in August, is maybe the last drawing you would have seen, and then some of the shifts and turns that we've made in the plans. So if you could pull up the August 5th.
Yeah, so just which one up there is it, Bill?
Did I just send that to you?
Yeah, I think this is the Kelly primary.
Give me that one and I'll
Is that it?
go to the second page. Yeah. So what I want to focus on is really the core, that center piece that's in the light yellow, couple red spots in the middle, right off of the unexcavated designation there. That's that existing stairwell with the steep ramps, right? What was proposed by the architects was to insert an elevator shaft inside of that core, and then to modify the ramps to be a series of steps that would progress from one floor to the other. You know, one of the fundamental challenges with, well, and the other significant construction constraint was that you want to keep the school open during construction. All right. So think about this. That's the most intensive construction that you have on the entire project, and it's sitting in the center of your building. Any elevator construction, whether it is separate and detached, is a good 6 to 8 month process. I don't care how you cut it. When you set it inside of the core, as it's designed here, it's every bit of a 10 to 12 month process. So when I'm trying to sit in your shoes and understand risk, in my mind, that issue is there's a design risk to it. I don't know if the architects can really get a firm design component to it. So anybody trying to bid it and understand it will probably have a fair amount of contingency on the pricing. I think it has a scheduling risk to it. I think you're challenged to try to build it and in and around the student population occupying the building. And finally, I think it's a significant safety risk. I just don't see how you could do that in an efficient way and achieve a functioning core. So we started there. That was the first point of the discussion of the what ifs. What if we moved it, changed it, repositioned it? Go back to the first floor. And you know, this is a little tricky. That's the basement. That's the ground floor. Go back, Rick. I'm sorry. That's the ground floor where the cafeteria is, and then you have, you know, your floors are tough to designate. I don't know if we've got a clear understanding, or at least in my mind, when you go to the next floor off of the basement floor. Rick, progress through those drawings. We were just at the basement. This is actually, this this plan is actually 2 different floor levels. I think everybody appreciates that you've been in the building, right? The yellow to the right of where that center red core is actually 6 feet above the gymnasium floor, right? We all have that perspective of this floor plan, which in and of itself, that's a significant transition to try to get inside of that core to bridge over. So one of the ideas was, you know, can you create a hallway or a ramp that would attach those 2 spaces, right? And we just couldn't get it to meet the ADA requirement. It was just too steep. So the shift really became positioning back out on the addition. So go to the next series of drawings, close out this. Well, yeah, a couple other points, and they're not on the plans, but on that original plan, what also came along with it was the architect's estimate of cost. I just want to point out a couple things in that original budget, or the last budget you would have seen. You know, the admin building has been shown on a set of plans. I'd advocate that we take it off for the moment and revisit that, whether it's back on the Kelly site or this building gets renovated. I just want to focus on the renovation of the school for the time being, and not cloud the discussion of what the design intent, what the cost structure is, how it's positioned, the functionality of the admin. I'm not diminishing the importance of it, but I think the driver in all of this is trying to get the Kelly renovation done. We'll revisit the admin discussion later after we get this piece of it launched. The second piece of that was the original budget had $350,000 in kitchen renovations. You know, when touring that building, that kitchen is in fairly good shape. I think the architects had the idea that they would bring another consultant in and completely revamp the cafeteria and kitchen function. I think there is a need for the serving line, but you know, taking it off of the equation now sort of leaves that expensive renovation tabled at the minute. You know, maybe we come back to it, but what I'm trying to get to is a bare bone budget that gets you a renovated building. You know, the other thing that appears on all of these drawings, and I think it can cloud your understanding of the total square feet that gets renovated, is the gymnasium. You know, it appears in all of these as being a part of the renovation. The gymnasium really has limited upgrades to it. There's mechanical systems, really. But other than that, it's in pretty good shape. And I think the consensus was, at least from the administration side of it, was that the gymnasium didn't need to be renovated. There's spaces around it that are part of this plan. The reason I'm saying that is you see on these drawings the total square feet of building, and it runs close to 70,000 square feet. When you layer in the cafeteria, layer in the gym, layer in this addition that we'll talk about in a second, And it's really not portraying what you're actually doing. And I want to try to stay on task of what's the space that's actually getting renovated. When you take out the cafeteria, take out the gymnasium, that number starts dropping to 45,000 square feet. That's 13,000 square feet that doesn't carry a $500 square foot multiple to it, right? Because costs will start playing into this discussion, and a cost per square foot on what is actually being renovated is going to be a relevant number, not on the gross number, right? Because it's on the gross number, we can get this, it can get really skewed as to what your what's a realistic number for what's actually being improved. So that's another takeaway. You're also showing $500,000 in an outdoor classroom. It's something I hadn't brought up, but I want to understand the importance of that space. That's a very expensive addition that sort of stands off the top in blue. You know, I was in prepping for tonight. I came across that. I don't think we've ever talked about it in the 3 or 4 meetings that we've had with the architects. I need more. I need more from the administration as to how important that is. You know, to build a standalone building of that size, think about it. I got utilities, you've got bathrooms, you got heat and cool, right? It's a standalone functioning space. That's the way I perceive a $500,000 cost, right? I don't know the total scope of that building. I don't know who's driving it, what's the importance of it. I need more, all right? So that sort of sets the stage of now the discussion of what's transpired in the last month in the revised floor plan. So this is the overall plan that we're looking at. A couple things to take away from the previous plan. That center core is no longer housing your elevator shaft and in a stair tower. You'll see as we roll through the floor plans, that's now an infill and a functioning classroom space. It has its own logistical challenges to infill it, but I think it's more doable than installing a new elevator. If it looks like it's engineering-wise too high of a risk, too challenging, it can always remain as an open visual, open light core, right? So it would add light to the basement level, basically, right, to the lowest level. So that we need some more evaluation on that. Go to the next slide. Go to the next one. Let's start on the first floor. So this area in blue that you're looking at the bottom is the addition. It is a larger addition. It's a single floor addition other than the elevator and the stair tower. How do we point?
Walk up and point.
Walk up and
Sorry.
you know your etiquette.
Next time we'll get you a pointer.
I could have brought one. So this area here is all addition. If you were to go back to the old plan, it might have been half of that. This is all at grade, a single story addition, other than this piece right here, which is the stair tower, new stair tower and elevator. That would go to the basement level and would go to the upper floor, the second floor. But other than the stair tower and elevator, this is all on at grade, single story. It's the simplest, cost-effective to execute. One other change I suggested was, if you looked at the prior edition, they were trying to mimic this architecture, which is a funky layout, right? It creates just real challenges to, you know, situate these functional spaces. It's really mostly admin here. So the suggestion was, look, let's just square it off. Let's just make a really easy, clean front elevation you know, and then you can work backwards, and layer in these, you know, the secretary, the conference room, the principal's office. And they're more rectangular spaces, more functionality to them. The other big addition here is you've got your security vestibule, but you've got a wider new corridor, you know, to welcome students, welcome guests into the building. If you looked at all of the other plans, in fact, when I went back to the 2017 plans, that corridor was fairly narrow. Now you can give it a little more breadth.
Nice.
You know, and it leads to the elevator that ultimately can move you vertically up through the other floors. You know, again, the other piece of that was you're losing a classroom here by creating this corridor, this pathway down into this or up into this upper level.
So that's a smart board, so watch, touch,
know.
be careful touching it.
Yeah. So, you know, so this, if you looked at the old plans, this used to be a classroom. It's now, we moved the classroom to infill where the stair tower was, right? And then adjusted, adding some additional restrooms. Go to the next, one other point too. So, you know, I'm trying to, again, create a presentation that you understand what's the actual space that's being touched and renovated. This is an example of trying to segregate the gymnasium from any improvements. You know, the other thing that we're trying to rationalize is to stack as much as you can the bathrooms floor to floor. It's more efficient, cost effective, easier execution. So go to, drop back down to the basement, the lowest level. So again, this is that first floor office space. You know, here it's unexcavated. This is clean fill. And here's the stair tower. You come back down into the lower level, your elevator. Again, you lose this corridor or this space, but we picked up what was the stair tower function. Again, we've sort of taken this off the table right now. There's some improvements that are made in the space for light safety. So it creates the lighting, but it's not a full-blown renovation of your cafeteria. There is a service line that's added. All right, jump up to the top floor. Come back. I'm going to go to the upper floor. So this is the second floor. Again, stair tower, elevator, you know, protruding above that first floor office elevation, infill of the stair tower. And then, you know, there were some adjustments to resituate the STEM classroom, which was over by the gymnasium in prior renditions. You know, cluster it with the library, some quiet room. Just again, that whole functionality, it sort of blends together and works well together. So
anybody who wants to come to the next meeting with Bill and the architects, we can have printed out for you, you know, a copy of the plan, so you can have your own copy to look at. I just didn't want to print 9 of them tonight for no reason, but sometimes it's easier to have those. For tonight, I thought a presentation was going to be better for us. Okay, Bill.
You know, from an operational standpoint, we're leaving the same classrooms, number of classrooms, 4 for pre-K, 6 for kindergarten, 6 for first grade, 4 for second grade. Haven't lost any of that.
So what's the capacity for each classroom? How many students can you?
Yeah, I don't know that answer. Joe, you know?
I'm guessing at least 25. I mean, I look
Yeah,
at the size
I
of
remember a number in the
minimum, I
20s.
think. They're much bigger than they are the Turner.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the things with the Turner things, because I didn't realize it. I thought our classrooms were always going to be able to have 25 students in them. And Joe was saying that they can't over at
Some
Turner.
of the turn rooms can't, right?
Yeah.
That's an item on my list to discuss and at least put on the table for everybody.
No.
So from a revised concept, at this stage, I need some guidance on that outdoor classroom space and how much you want to progress through that.
How did that come about?
Can we push that off a month to talk about that one?
Yeah.
I think we need to get folks together on that. The idea of an outdoor classroom is pretty good. I think the 500,000 was for two of them. One wasn't enough. We had to have two. So I think that's how that number got up. Wasn't it around $250,000 to have one of them?
And they were
Anybody
pretty
remember?
extravagant.
No.
They're really
doubled. It
They were pretty
doubled. You talked
extravagant.
about it class.
They were more than-
One was
all
gonna
we
be
were
at
looking
Turner, one
for
was gonna be
is
at Kelly.
An outdoor learning area in each building, but they
What you were
they
looking
come
at
back
is-
as pretty
I'm looking at
extravagant.
a budget that says an outdoor classroom with shelter, 560,000.
No. We were talking about a roof and some pillars to hold it up and
Exactly.
some chairs and stuff and like when you take your class outside, you know what I mean?
Well, that's good. That's the feedback I need, and then I can dive into design too.
We could put up a whiteboard out there, something simple.
Yeah. Okay, all right, that's helpful. And I think, there's been or what I recommend on the mechanical system is the, VAV system, central distribution, revamping the whole air conditioning and heating. Just got it. Let's go new. Let's go to the best technology right now, the cleanest, freshest system you can design to. I think there was maybe some discussion in the past about trying to reuse what's there and make it work. So that decision's been made. So one other piece, and you just mentioned it, Debbie, is the this consideration of flipping Turner and Kelly. And I've heard it a couple times from Joe that hey, the Kelly has a larger gym, larger cafeteria, larger classrooms. If you're going to do it, you do it now, because if you go to the first floor of the kindergarten. So, there's 10 bathrooms in these kindergarten spaces.
That's what I was going to.
All right, and they're all being repositioned, renovated. If you went to an older class, the older student population, those could be repositioned. We still probably need to count, but they can probably be placed in a more efficient way and less costly. So I'm just need some guidance again on how far you want to take that evaluation.
We're gonna have to have a serious discussion about that. Do we want to flip Kelly and Turner? Notice that this plan called for second grade to move back over. There are 4 second grade rooms at Kelly now, but they would be coming out of Turner and going over to Kelly, which is the way it was meant to be in the first place. Well, it was that way for the first year or two of operation, but we're gonna have a discussion about the pros and cons of doing that. And I think you're gonna have to lead us through that discussion.
There is pros and cons, you sit and talk to the principals, some of the staff, you see the pros and cons to each.
Yes.
And then thinking long term, where we want to be, 5 years from now or 10 years from now. So that's a big decision we got to make, and I think we could have everybody in that discussion.
But you need to know that fairly
Sooner
soon.
than later.
Yeah, right.
Because it will drive some changes here.
So how about if we just schedule a meeting for early October and we'll come on in, we'll see, we may need Bill there for that, or whoever we think, but we'll get together and because it's a big decision. It was a big decision to remember, both of those schools were pre-K 6, so it was a big decision to do that. And I think that was a smart move, but now we're just be flip-flopping. So let's see
Yeah.
First week or
because-
two of October.
Well, and I guess this is an immediate question that I have because Turner had its renovations already. Were there changes with the renovations in Turner in regards to like the bathroom? You know, like the pre-K, I'm assuming kindergarten classrooms need a bathroom in the classroom. So is Turner capable of
question.
that still?
Yeah.
Turn-
Like when I went to
we would have to do
kindergarten, I
that.
had a bathroom, but it's not the same Turner that I went to. So what does that look
I
like?
think we'd have to add those. I
Yeah,
mean,
there's a question as to whether you actually need the bathrooms in the classroom. You definitely need to adjust the height of, you know, the toilets and
Yeah.
and partition and so forth. You know, there would be some adjustment there, but, you know, do you have to go to individual bathrooms? If that was the case, then I think that there's probably much larger investment in Turner than it's worth.
Yeah.
Um,
And yeah, that is what my thinking was. I mean, I guess I would want to hear from like our teachers about the bathrooms in the classroom because from my perspective, it's helpful. Especially with
For the little ones.
like having a 3-year-old,
Yeah.
she needs a potty right there, not one that she's got to exit the classroom and get an adult's attention. Like that's So that's just my thought process from a student focused
No, that's very smart.
perspective of
No,
when we-
that's
when we
good.
talk about that because
I mean, we could get into putting in 8 new bathrooms at Turner, you know what I mean, at quite a cost, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, maybe it's not worth it to have that slightly bigger gym. You know, so that's what I mean about all the pros and cons of this, you know?
yeah,
I
So
think we
maybe,
do have to
you know,
look at enrollment too, and then.
Yeah.
Right. so maybe we
So-
could, you know what, I'll send somebody around for us to generate a list of questions. You know what I mean? And so that in that meeting where we're deciding that, Bill can at least be prepared for what we're gonna ask him about that, okay?
Yeah, and I guess too, because clearly as a board, we aren't present day to day when you're working on this. So my question is, do we have a teacher from every grade giving feedback on
That's,
this?
yeah, great question. At some point, that's what I would like to involve, because that's what didn't happen the first time around.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be important, especially to have those two involved.
Yeah,
And then each grade level chairperson, just to meet
that
with
would
Bill
be,
as you go through this.
Yes.
Because
yeah,
now, after the fact, I've seen what was going on, it's like, you know, we have 2 ramps and going into the same place at Turner.
yeah,
And we have too many adult bathrooms, like,
yeah,
and there might be some things that I'm not thinking of,
yes,
that they would think of. or their
right, and
teachers
their
would think of.
teachers,
Right.
that
And
was
we're
my
not gonna
thought
think of
process.
them.
Because
I'm glad you
no,
asked that.
yeah,
Don't
no
forget.
one person, even as principals, like you all have a lot on your plate. They can't think like, oh, what did the pre-K do? Oh, what did the 6th grade? Like, that's a lot. So I think I came into Turner, I think late too, like things were already decided by the time the Turner construction kind of started. We just were stewards I was part of being a steward to get through it. But this time we have an opportunity to do an even better job.
Especially with
Agreed.
pre-K and stuff, because there are state guidelines too that you have to have. Because if you remember when we talked about Turner, it was one thing where you couldn't have the pre-K in the basement because they didn't have.
That's
windows.
why we have those
right,
special
yeah,
windows in the
Yeah,
back.
so, and I don't know if you're aware of all of those guidelines and things like that. I would hope the architects would.
Yeah, they are.
So, but actually, we didn't pull in teachers and staff until way late in the process at Turner. It was
Yeah.
almost too late to make changes.
Yeah.
We brought them in about furnishings and colors and cubbies and things
Yeah.
like that, but would you want carpet or hardwood or hard floors, but not earlier in the design thing, like, do we need bathrooms in the
Yeah.
pre-K? So,
Yes.
so I think that's real smart.
I'll be glad
Thank
you
you.
asked that.
I'd like to get that organized maybe toward the end of October.
You can do that.
That meeting?
Whenever you need
We'll
it,
do it in the
teachers.
first,
with the teachers.
with the teachers.
Yeah.
Okay,
We can go ahead and schedule that.
That
Um,
sounds really
I think
good.
it'd be worthwhile doing a deep dive on, you know, floor by floor, room by room.
Okay,
And, you know, so we need to clean up some things on the drawings, make them a little more understandable.
we'll go ahead and get that
So-
set.
what would be a decision marker about flipping Kelly and Turner? Would it be, if we have to put bathrooms in, 2 bathrooms in every one of the rooms over there, that's a pre-K or kindergarten, that would be
Yeah.
that would make it a no-go? Okay, so
I
so
agree.
that, there's an answer to that one. So maybe when we get together, we don't need to wrestle with that question because Bill can find out for us. You know what I mean? What does the code say about that? if we have to put in, what would it be? Oh my gosh, 10 at least new bathrooms at Turner, that's crazy.
Yeah.
We just spent $14 million over there. In my mind,
Crazy.
that's crazy. Let's leave things the way they are and make Kelly really awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, just the thought of what it looks like past that too, you know, if we're talking about as a district needing to grow because of our students. So I'd rather save that for the talks of like, we need a third building versus throw some bathrooms at Turner.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Let's grow first.
Yeah, that's what I, well, yeah, maybe missed my, that was the point, like the
Yeah.
growth
Yeah.
of the district, yeah.
Yeah, right. But yeah, but if you think long-term like that, we want to get Kelly done, financed, paid for, ribbon cut, because then we got to turn our attention to this building. What are we going to do with this? Or are we going to add on to Kelly? There's a plan to be able to add on to Kelly, move it in over there. We won't be finished once we decide what we're doing at Kelly, but let's get that much settled, I think.
Well, let's see what we can afford.
Yes, right.
Thanks, Mike.
So when I talked with you last week, or I don't want to put you on the spot, you kind of threw around a number that the architects were talking one number and you thought a different number, a total number for Kelly was going to be more realistic, or would you rather wait?
I'm gonna wait, but there's
Okay.
a placeholder, you know, the design you saw in the first series of plans, their takeoff was 15 million. You know, as we've gone through what I think is a cleaner, more rational design and a little more straightforward execution, they're holding the 15 million, right? And that troubles me. There will be an upcoming exercise to work numbers, all right? I need more from them and from the architects, which they're gathering for me. I think we need a really good narrative on the mechanical, the MEP side. We need to clean up these drawings a little bit more, put some dimensions on them, and we'll go out for an early pricing exercise.
Okay, but you know that's what boards do. How much? Every month we're going to be going.
Yeah,
how
that's
much?
okay. That's okay.
Yeah, but we can't let architects go out and keep going 15 million, because their 15 million will turn into 18 million. We've already experienced that. We
Yep.
don't even have 15 million.
Well, when we
So,
remember when we started, oh, you were gone already. When we started
so
this,
much has happened since I've been gone.
we know, yeah, right, a lot. We wanted to do a phase of this. You know what I mean? $4 million maybe. But in the first meeting with the architects, they kept hearing about, oh, we just got $14 million in ESSER money. Oh, we just got this. Oh, our fund. I think they kept hearing that we were sitting on big pockets of money. So that's when they came back with a $13 million plan that became a $15 million plan. And so we never said yes to any of that. But that's how we got to that. I think they just heard things and thought we had a lot of money.
They're generous with your money.
So,
I hope you see that what I'm trying to do is I am respectful of your capital. And I do want to try to get you to the point where this is the minimum you need to spend to get a renovated building. Now, all right, you want to add on to these things, let's start working upward. But let's get to a number that
right.
gets you the accessibility resolved. That gets you the improved mechanical system.
Right.
That gets you the upgraded plumbing and restrooms and, you know, the cosmetic component of it. Hey, here's the other thing. Let's look at 15 million. You put a new roof on that structure, right?
Right.
So you're not replacing a roof in that, which again, it's.
So
Anyway,
you guys,
Appreciate that.
you guys meet
What's
once
that?
a month.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
You guys meet once a month, right? You meet with the architect?
We've met a couple times.
Oh, I made like every 2 weeks right now.
Okay, because you gave us a dates that the next meeting was, but it didn't say a time,
I sent out the list that Steven sent to you.
but it didn't have a time.
Didn't have a time. So
Last week's meeting?
no future meetings.
It was
You sent
like
out a
in-
list
Oh,
of
yeah,
dates
I don't, well,
every third Monday or something like that. That's not solid yet.
no.
But when it's solid, then
Part of
we'll
it-
get a
Part of
time.
it is how I get information and, you know, I'm 2 blocks from their office and so we'll get something set up where you can participate, but I don't want to wait, you know, just trying to stay on schedule with keeping you up to speed. I want to keep the process moving, right?
Absolutely.
And And whether it's tied around this update, you've got me once a month updating you. You know, I know in the next 30 days, it'll be lucky to get one meeting in besides the update. I'll be out of town for 2 weeks from October 1st to October 15th. I can participate by Zoom, but not physically in a meeting. And they'll have enough to do in the next couple of weeks for us to get to the next series of meetings.
But I think if once a month, there could be a meeting like the one that was held here last week, where there could be a couple board, we won't all be there at one time, but a couple board people there, just for some input to listen, to hear more details, you know what I mean? I think that would be great, whether it's here or we go downtown.
And you hear them just, give you feedback directly, because I'm filtering obviously what they're saying, right? And I think it is good that you challenge them or hear their explanation of some things, right? So you have 2 action items to vote on. One was the asbestos survey from PSI, and I recommend you approving that. On the geotech, about 2 hours before the meeting here, I was able to find the original geotech from 2017. It was emailed to me. It's not as extensive as the geomechanics proposal. I've sent that on to the architects to discuss with them to see if we need another geotech, or can we revise geomechanics to reduce the borings. The cost of the geotech study is the number of borings and the depths of the borings. And so what I'd like for you to do is to approve it maybe conditionally, and I don't know if we can do that. And then, or when do you have to take it to a vote?
Next week.
Next week. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll have a decision before that.
Okay,
All
good.
right, but it might get revised downward, is my point. I think there's some information in the original geotech report from 2017 were duplicated. I know at least 2 of the borings are duplicate borings.
Okay. On our other action item,
What's that?
didn't you say we have 2?
Those are the 2.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's the next stage of
PSI.
PSI.
That's the second one. I mean. Yeah. So, yeah. And so we also then, we're gonna get a list of questions about some other things. We'll set up a time. We'll try not to mess around with you having to come in by Zoom, but somehow or other, we'll try to set up a meeting with you. Although we'll talk about it if we need to have one. The gist of that was gonna be, do we flip Kelly and Turner? I think you're gonna have an answer, a rough answer about how many bathrooms we gotta put in, and
Yeah,
that'll determine that.
maybe the answer, we'll go back. We got sort of it wasn't a very firm yes or no from the architect. It's like I think we need bathrooms. I think by code, you need those in-class bathrooms for the pre-K. They weren't certain of that. Let me just double check on what that is first. If they say, no, you have flexibility, the next question is, well, you as in your pre-K teachers, do you want them, right? That's right. Because it may be a mute issue if by code you're going to put them in. If we're saying, look, we're not going to invest that money in Turner, but put bathrooms in, then let's not go any further with it.
Right. Yeah, that's something we can talk about, because maybe whether they're required or not, we would want them to be there for those teachers, you know what I mean? We would want the restrooms to be there in pre-K and kindergarten room. So whether it's in the code or not, we would be the ones saying, yeah, we want them there, and therefore it's way too expensive to flip, you know?
Yeah, and that's what I really want the teacher's perspective, because they know what that looks like for them in their management of their classroom with kids crying all day.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Carrie,
would think
Carrie
pre-K
spent many years there, so
Yeah.
you would know.
Kindergarten, I used to teach kindergarten, you still can line them up and put them, but
Yeah.
pre-K, those kids.
Yeah.
they gotta
Yeah,
look
sometimes-
down.
And when I did kindergarten at Turner, I had a bathroom in the classroom though.
Yeah.
So, because I didn't do pre-K there. I did it
They
at
were
church.
special.
I don't think I was the only class with a bathroom.
At Kelly, we didn't have
Oh, really?
I mean, yeah, so it just, I, you know, we have to look at the cost and do a cost benefit, I think. But pre-K, I would say, even if we didn't have to, we should.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's
Yeah,
the right thing.
that becomes urgent.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it's not 10 bathrooms, it could be, 4 that you have like a, central bathroom that's close to each, couple of grouping of classes.
Yeah.
Something like that, because I know some schools do have their own. And then others do not, but they have one that's very close
Yeah.
nearby.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
it just depends. And also our kids are expected to be potty trained, so,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? They,
It says it on there, like they gotta be potty trained, but I also know when I get like just now.
that's the nice thing about having, we have more than one person in the pre-K class.
Yes, they do
Right,
have
so
multiple
you can
people.
always have that
Yeah.
other person take, a group of kids.
That's
Yeah,
true.
that is true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I'd like to hear from the principal, not tonight, but
Yeah,
when we come together, hear from the principals and the teachers on it.
yeah.
And something else we need to know is from Dr. Joe, what was the rationale for okay, the gym size was one thing, but what were the other reasons why we would want to do this in the first place? I mean, so I think we need to understand what those benefits would be. So, but Bill, thank you.
Can I ask
Yeah,
a
one
question?
of their meetings that we'll have to get out there is to update the borough. Just, I think, give them a presentation, more information at this point. We're not going in with a formal site plan yet. But there is that drop-off parking area, or, that
Oh, we're going to excavate.
extends what's there today.
Yeah.
And I understand there might be some trees that get impacted by it. So,
Ooh,
my God,
there's
that's
big
the
on
tree
trees,
committee.
yeah. Okay, yeah, but the sooner we talk with them, the more they're gonna feel part of the
Yeah.
solution. You know what I mean? I think, so, that's a good idea.
Yeah, thanks, Bill.
Now, I have one question for you on the asbestos removal and stuff. The motion is just for two parts of it, and that's the 1970 for the hazardous materials survey and 2,500 for the asbestos abatement design services. But there's a lot of other pieces in this. Are you proposing that we only need those two things?
yes.
Okay,
And then, when you go to actually do the work, then there's a cost per diem on, relative to the monitoring side of it.
Okay, because there is the monitoring. when-
We're not, until you implement it,
Okay,
and let's just see what the scope is for it.
okay.
I mean, the goal is to identify it, quantify it, get an estimate of the price and how it gets executed. And you're gonna come back to you with that information. And then it's more than likely part of the construction plan, or maybe it's isolated that you can do it, on a weekend or something. I don't know. We don't know the scope yet, so.
Okay.
That's what I was saying, that when you brought it up, when that gets done.
That would be after.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Bill.
Yep.
Thanks a lot.
See you next month.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Let's see. So, Dr. Joe, your report.
No, just, I don't really have much tonight because you're gonna get a lot more from the staff. I just want to thank Carrie and Rachel for starting this school year this year. They did a really good job. Appreciate it. And I know Carrie's been a great resource to Rachel for some things. So and there's been some moving around, with people not being there. Some of the biggest struggles are trying to manage the classroom, rearranging, and Carrie's always been very good at that. So I always appreciate that. The bus stops, busing has been, every year you got issues with bus stops and every school district, but it was not bad. Again, it was not bad. And I made a few stops at a couple locations, and first day there was one that was late. But the families at that community, up on Graham, probably about 8 to 10 families, the bus, they waited the first day and just ended up taking all their kids to school. They did not complain. They understood. First thing they all said to me was, it's the first week. We knew there's going to be hiccups. Not one complaint. They did, and then the next day was taken care of right away. So Diane,
Crossing guards, because that was on the news.
I went to that location probably for about 4 or 5 days straight. That area, we've been going to that location for a long time, and I've been working with Diane on that and the people in that location. And it's fine. It's more of making sure part of that's Pittsburgh over here, and part of that's Wilkinsburg. So those two stop signs, the way they work out, people kind of just want to go right through those stop signs. So I did reach out to Pittsburgh Police and Wilkinsburg Police just to get down there to monitor from the morning time for busing and the afternoon time, because it's right here on Wood Street. Wood goes into Oakwood. So Oakwood is Pittsburgh, Wood is ours. So it's two separate locations. So I contacted both police officer or both police stations just to plant themselves there in the morning and in the afternoon. So, but the bus stop, yeah, it's not too bad. I was considering rearranging it until I went down there and actually talked to some of the families and so on. And Chief Coleman, I've got to, work with Chief Coleman finally. We've got to connect. We work closely with Officer Coffey, but I want to try to get more officers involved, come through the buildings. And we're working with some other things with Jermaine that I could talk about in executive session with the police force, just to create that relationship and also ensure that we're doing everything we can do to make sure our kids are safe and secure every day. So, and we have some good things in place, and I think will help. So I won't talk about the special ed update that we got today from the superintendent's meeting, but it's kind of scary across the state of special ed teachers that are not certified, that we don't have out there. So, which is going to be an issue over the next couple of years because your special ed population is continuing to grow, but your special ed teachers certifications are getting smaller as well. So it's going to be an issue over the next couple of years. So, but I didn't want to take up too much time because I went through each of the PowerPoints of presenters tonight. So I want to make sure they have time.
On top of it, I'll reach out because I just have questions just about that particular issue with like the shortage of teachers, specifically special education, non like anything we can really do about it, but I just want to get your perspective on that because I know that's
it's a topic that it seems like we have our superintendent's monthly meetings with the whole county. It's been a topic of conversation for the last year, which is surprising. And almost every Google alert or PSEA alert I get or PSBA alert always has something in there.
So this is a chance to build a pipeline.
Yeah.
And you do that by having relationships. Like last summer, we thought of it too late, but for our summer school, what if I wanted us to reach out to, I talked to Dr. Thorpe about it, reach out to some HBCUs and say, hey, we'll pay you a stipend, come and live here, teach our 6 week, a summer school program, and make it really attractive for for students to come here and be a co-teacher in one of those programs. We just thought of it too late, but
We're already on that.
things like that, I think you build a pipeline.
Yeah, we're already on that. With the Consortium of Public Education, we belong to a smaller group of Duquesne, South Allegheny, East Allegheny, Clareton, 1 or 2 other places. So it's just a smaller group. That's who we're doing on October 10th about professional development with. I can't remember his name offhand, but he is our point of contact for the HBCUs. So he's going to try to get something, and maybe even where we might even have to do a site visit to one of those locations. I don't know. Okay. So he's already been on that. So.
That sounds good.
I like that. I also like when it comes to this kind of recruitment, I like a consortium of one, us. Not to be selfish.
Just come along.
We want to make sure we have the teachers we need. All right, is that it? Ms. McClellan.
Just skip and see.
What is it?
Are we skipping Miss Martha, or she doesn't have one today?
Oh, no, she doesn't have one.
Oh, no. This should be the next one. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Just making sure.
The ones that have the little dots beside them.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay, all right, you can do this first one. All right, so what I did for Turner, I looked at the enrollment by grade, and then I went back and Dr. Malushik had suggested just to compare from the different years, our enrollment by grade from 2021, 21 to 22, then this year. So, enrollment overall total has gone up a little bit, definitely has gone up in the 5th and 6th grade. And actually, really has gone up in every grade. Now 2nd and 3rd there's a slight decrease, but, we have had some students move out of the district, and I didn't check, and I would have to check with Rachel, but there could be like 1 or 2 that could be virtual, and I may not have included them in the data that I pulled. So,
But those second graders would have been coming into pre-K or K when we shut down for COVID. And a lot of parents then chose us built a school that was open, you know what I mean, rather than virtual. So we lost some kids and families there. And once they go, you don't get them back, you know what I mean? So I think, in my mind, that could be part of the reason for this.
But this is promising. Look, we could go.
Yeah.
And that 6th grade number is,
Yeah.
I am, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
that amazed too.
That's where we actually, over the past couple of years, where we've been losing students in 5th and 6th.
Right.
Yes, that's why that
Especially.
number just now, I'm like, oh, okay, that looks really good.
okay, get to the next one. And then the next one is the attendance percentage by grade. I didn't put in for the 2021 because that is when we were on virtual. I just didn't have that data to put on this slide. But overall, our attendance, again, the average is at 90%. Of course, we want to keep it definitely above 90. So we are working on that. Again, beginning of the year, students are still enrolling every day. And I will say that number 305 is definitely higher. We have 4 more students starting tomorrow. We've had, it's this beginning of the year, so we'll get a much better, more accurate number definitely by October. And then I am going to start like an attendance incentive program like they did last year, just by percentage by each grade, and then we post it and make a big deal about it. So, but that did seem to help last year when Ms. Freiberger had the attendance incentive.
That's promising too, because I don't think I've seen percentages in the 90%
Yeah,
for a long time.
so. Oh, they're coming. They come every day. They don't miss. It's just good,
You guys work it.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, they want to be there, they definitely want to be there for sure. So our school-wide PBIS rewards, we are going to, have a kickoff meeting at the end of September. We're going to do, not sure yet, again, we're going to talk when we have, our kickoff meeting or a reboot meeting, just to talk about incentives, the school store, get a schedule, and all of that will be in place, for October. And then we also have the Zen Den. The Zen Den is a room. It's an alternative space area. It's an alternative to suspension. So it really just teaches models, practices of positive self-regulation, self-regulation skills, social skills, so that anticipating that would start in October as well. The Zen Den. Now on the PBIS rewards, teachers enter in by way of a flow chart that they follow, whether it's a major infraction, minor infraction, and then the CICO does stand for check in, check out, which I do not put that on there. Now these numbers may be a little different. I did look at the end of the day today, and there were a few more referrals in there. They were not majors, but they were minors. And when a teacher writes a minor referral, they follow the flow chart, and like three minor behaviors within a month, the same behavior would turn into a major. And then, I would take action, or we would put a plan in place, such as a check-in and check-out. We have a lot of students that were on check-in and check-out last year, and so we've, tried to continue them this year. And then we just get a pulse on them. They set goals for themselves. They check in the morning. They have a point person. Like I have about 3 students I do it with. They know they come see me in the morning. We set up their goals. They go on about their day. Then they come back at the end of the day. Did you meet your goal? And then, then set a larger goal probably for the end of the week or something. This is an incentive. So that is PBIS. Okay, you can go to the next one. Okay, then on here, just really showing that some of the things that we have, just being the beginning of the year and everyone being extremely busy with this beginning of the year assessments. We have the math assessments. We started with, grades 2 and 6. That already started. ELA, Miss Coyle and Miss Boyer they started with the 6th grade, and then they'll go started 2, then 3, 4, 5. So that has been going very well with the beginning of the year assessments, just to make sure the students are in the right tier and are receiving the correct instruction. The after school program with the Neighborhood Learning Alliance started today. So that, today's the 20th, it started yesterday actually. So far so good, no complaints. The safety patrols will be starting in October as well. Then we also have the Student Envoy program. It is a not a partnership of Pittsburgh Public Schools. They started Student Envoy in 2015. And so we started the initiative this year. And it's a student leadership program and just choosing leaders, student leaders. So when they do transition to Pittsburgh Public in 7th grade, they'll already understand what Student Envoy program is all about. So I've been working with Rashayla from Pittsburgh Public and just so we can roll that program out to our 6th grade, our older 6th grade first, but then we're going to do 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then this month, from September 15th to October 15th is the Hispanic Heritage Month, and we have some activities planned there, which I do have on another slide coming up, so I will explain that when we get to that. We also have the Pittsburgh Penguins Reading Champion Program, and that program is it's focused on 3rd graders where they get rewards for reading, and every classroom will get a set of 25 books, and it focuses on teamwork, kindness, anti-bullying, just being a kind person to one another. So we have, they have prizes, they have teacher toolkits, they have posters, gifts, rewards, and it's just really all about having children having a book in their hand and just loving to read, to have the love of reading. So that has not started yet, but the Penguins, we have reached out to each other, so they will be back in touch with these toolkits and when this whole champion program is going to get kicked off. And then we have the Painted Rocks from Miss Andrette, our art teacher. I'm going to do have a slide about that. It's just calling it like the rocking kindness area where students to paint rocks and just paint messages of positivity or words of kindness and just saying positive things. So they really enjoyed that, and there is a picture in there with them all painting on their little rocks. So the next one. Okay, and then the Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra, we have met, with them. We just will continue meeting monthly. Actually, I think this month was canceled just due to scheduling conflicts, but that will continue again in October. The Disney musical, there is something on the board agenda tonight regarding the Disney musical, which that will all start again in January of 2023. And we have brought back in the cafeteria and other areas of the building the share table just to really decrease waste and just to really, talk to the students about waste and about recycling and, just the amount of waste that we get rid of every day, and some of the food waste that we have had in the past, like just with milk that wasn't even open, but whatever the rules are about that, you can't put them back and you can't, there's certain rules you have. So with the share table, the students, the share table is empty at the end of every day. All the food is gone. So that is positive, that the milk is, the milk and the things that we put on the share table are going into their bellies and not into a landfill somewhere. So we're really trying to be conscious of, this decreasing waste. And then our authorship program, we've talked to, Kelly Hanna about that. And we are going to focus on 6th grade and 1st grade, just with Mrs. Cole being the only librarian to tackle the entire, both buildings, every single grade, every student would be a lot to manage. So we figured we will have a plan to start with 6th grade and 1st grade. And then, so we're going to continue that authorship program because the kids really enjoyed that and the books are really nice. So
Yeah,
we're excited about that.
before the
Yeah.
board leaves tonight, I did bring some books because I don't think you got to see some of the books.
No.
So before you leave, there's a bunch of the books on the counter back there. If you want to take a look at.
All right, then Officer Boise has attended some safety. He did attend a safety conference. It was board approved over the summer. I believe it was in July. And he did send a summary of just what he has learned from that. Both security officers at both buildings are very serious, take their job very serious, and with the evacuations and they both talked at both of the opening days and did a really nice job, just really stressing, just being safe in the school, not popping doors open, and just things that we could do to all keep each other safe throughout the building. So they're, again, they're back. And then we also added Miss Yates, who is at both buildings, and she'll come to Kelly, or she comes to Turner, then I know she goes to Kelly to work through the after-school program because Officer Ronnie's unable to do that.
Oh, that's the new security person. Yeah. Okay.
Is that what? Yeah. Okay, then instrumental. I thought this was like a big highlight for me. She's up to 109 instruments to date, and I don't know how she manages her schedule, but yeah, so we have 109 students playing instruments, which is I'm so excited. Yeah, that's what I said. I don't know. She said, "You want my schedule?" I'm like, "Not really." It's so busy, I can't understand it.
In a previous
So-
district, we didn't have 109. I'm not gonna say which district. K through 12.
Yes.
Wasn't that one?
This is a third
In
of
a
our
bigger school
kids.
system.
Yeah, yeah, she's amazing. She's just an excellent job, and the students just respond so well. And then some of the students that you wouldn't think would want to play an instrument, which is really great, they do. And some of them are just finding that little outlet that maybe it's really all they needed to tap into them. So yeah, I was so excited. I'm like 109. I'm like, Clarissa, are you serious? So
Do
I
they
was
start in
excited.
2nd grade or 3rd grade?
Third, yeah.
Things to pick their own instruments, just out of curiosity. I guess some of it's your.
Yeah, she does she'll go around at the beginning with a cart and, just talk about each instrument, and then she'll play it, and, this is what it sounds like. And so just to get them an idea of what they might be interested in, so. Yeah.
Do we do recorders for all the, do we do recorders at our staff?
Oh, I don't know, that's a good question. I do
Recorders?
remember
Do we do
playing.
recorders?
Oh, I did
I never
recorders
played
like
this,
I didn't know they still made them.
I did a recorder in 3rd grade,
Yeah.
2nd
Usually
grade,
in 3rd grade.
and then
They might
4th
do
grade, I started
recorders.
the instrument.
So every child gets an experience of what it's like to play an instrument, even if they never have to again or want to.
It was
But,
in
you know,
music class. Yeah,
yeah,
you would
we
get a
all
recorder
did
in music
Yeah,
class.
I've
Learn how to
seen
play
in
it.
Miss Barnes, Kelly's in music class, last year,
like
whenever.
guitar.
Yeah, what did I
they
learn
were-
to play?
yeah. But
That was it.
Maybe that's something, since we got a little bit of money, we can.
Do recorders.
Yeah.
I could probably play this song on recorders.
Are you serious?
You don't know, look, there's a little chord. It looks like a little plastic clarinet, honestly. It's probably 12 inches, it's not big, it's all plastic.
Is it a real thing or like a kazoo?
No, it's got holes
Not
for
one of those things made out of-
you
Yeah,
use your
it does.
fingers
One of those
for
things made out of
keys.
tinfoil?
Yeah, there's a little recorder.
I ever played. I'm really.
Okay, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. I just knew I could get you riled up if I
That's
asked
so
that one.
funny, but I do love that. I mean, that's really good stuff.
And
So I'm sorry, but if you think about that, instrumental music doesn't start till second grade. That 109 students, that's even a higher percentage. It's a huge percentage of our kids in 2 through 6. That's awesome. Jeez.
yeah.
Okay.
And then we do have our partnership with the Wilkinsburg Library, and this is cool, is taking students in grade 2 to 6 on a field trip to the library. And then I believe that the library are coming to Kelly too, because they're just smaller. And, yeah, so that field trip, that information is forthcoming. I believe it's towards the end of October. And then the Zenden, which I talked about, is the alternative to, suspending a child and just giving them a different outlet. All right. All right, this was just a second grade activity, just that Mr. Weinstein and Ms. Fligger, just facilitated with the students in second grade, and Mr. Weinstein led the STEM activity, and Ms. Fligger co-facilitated. And just really about building blocks and electrical kits. So interesting.
It's completely unrelated. Is this stuff that we can be sharing out? Did we share this already?
We did not share this because I just got the do not photo list yesterday from Mrs. Tucker.
That's right.
Because we've had an issue with the do not photo list. So,
Okay.
yeah, I took school
These
pictures
students are
from
not on
every
that
grade,
list.
and I'm gonna have to retake them all because we've had some, but it's okay.
But these kids in these photos are good to go.
Correct.
Yeah, just seeing this kind of stuff, because like as we talk about like the enrollment numbers going up, and like the good things are the numbers about our instrument, how many kids are playing, like that for me is all things that we want to make sure that the public is aware of. We of course can't afford to send a letter and a newsletter all the time, but I know we are starting we have our link. I signed up for our newsletter on the website, but however we can let people know what we're doing with our kids. So other families are like, that's what they're doing down the street. Yeah, bring your kids. So yeah.
Well, I kind of see as more arts and crafts and music and the Disney things like that. If we have some opportunities to bring the community in to see kind of what's going on.
That Disney musical will be great for that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we can make a big deal out of that, I think, when
Yeah,
the
I
time
think we
comes.
make a really big deal about that.
And I know that we were talking, or Kelly, we didn't really finalize the conversation about like an open house, even inviting if anyone wanted to go on a tour for October 13th. So, just to maybe go on a tour, but we didn't talk further, but, so that's still something that we're talking about. Okay. All right, then for the Hispanic Heritage Month, Miss McMichaels, she's doing like a music mania, and it's just a music bracket, and the students vote each week on, whatever the song that they like the best, and then we announce the winner. So it's just kind of fun just to hear different music from all different, all over the world. So, and then she has the brackets all set up. So that, and we were gonna start that this week, but just with that little malfunction in the kitchen or in the cafeteria, we just didn't, but we're going to start this. And then we just do facts and trivia on the morning announcements, and then there's just mini research, little assignments in different, they talk about different foods and people and cultures, throughout the entire month. And then she is sending out, information to both buildings actually, to the teachers, just different things that they can do in their classrooms.
Did the kids get to do the announcements ever?
We did do that last year. We started with the sixth grade.
Thinking of sixth
Yeah.
graders.
So, with the student envoy, and that'll be like our student leadership. So, yeah, I think it's a good idea. And they enjoyed it. And then, honestly, I'm not 100% sure what happened. And I went out for a while, so I don't know.
COVID, we can blame COVID on
what
everything.
happened? So we're gonna start, we can blame everything on COVID. So sounds good.
And then we blame it on COVID, we fixed it with ESSER money.
Right.
Okay, then the last slide is just showing, just again, it's called like, rocking kindness. Just the rocks that the
Oh.
students paint. And if you look in the front of the building, looking at the building, it's over to the right, in the corner by the mulch. Miss Andrette had it all set up and fixed, so it's just cute. And then the kids see it every day, they walk by it, and then, just put a message of kindness or something nice they want to share, and they can put it on the rock and then place it out there in the little rock garden.
They have nice art smocks.
Yeah.
The outdoor class.
Oh, yeah, they do. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But yes, sir, money.
Yeah, outdoor class, you're right, outdoor class. Where's the
There it is.
kids?
Why do we need $500,000?
Yes.
It's right there.
Yeah.
Any
Right.
questions?
And that-
No, thank you so much. So good. And it's
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
September.
Right.
Only
I
September.
like it.
Well, the next,
Yeah.
the next time. it's 3 bucks.
Josh and Brad.
Yeah.
So it won't be-
Oh, that's, is that next?
It's on the agenda for us to vote on.
Yeah, that's, that is, an assembly.
What's that?
The Josh in
Oh, yeah.
assembly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know it went on like under this.
Yeah,
I got you.
It's for an assembly. It's an anti-bullying, assembly. We had one a couple years ago at Kelly. They loved it. Like everyone loved it. The adults loved it. The kids loved it. So we're gonna bring them back.
This is just at Turner.
No,
But
yeah. Yeah, and I didn't realize it was attached to this one. I just was turning it in to make sure that I voted on it.
Is it
It's not very
supposed
much
to be-
money, so I'm glad to do it.
Is
I mean,
it supposed to be on the, I don't see it on the agenda.
Well, it was put under Carrie's report, that's what.
The contract is
I-
under Carrie's report, or the proposal or something like
Yeah.
that.
Right,
isn't
but
Maybe
it's
I-
not on
So we should do a
the-
resolution.
it? Yeah, we'll have to turn it into a resolution, I
We'll have
guess.
to have David and them just look over it too. It's
Okay.
an agreement, a contract, so I need to have those. guys.
Sorry,
That's
I
okay.
didn't know. I sent it.
We got a week, but we'll take care of it.
Yeah, I was nervous that it wouldn't get on because it's the end of October. So I just sent everything in at one time, so.
thank you.
Yeah, that needs to
Thank
be.
you very
But I'm
much.
sorry, when you did it before, it was the same outfit, the same people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, they were great. Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
Can we come in and see it?
Oh, my gosh, yeah, it's really, it's fun. I mean, they had the whole entire school on the gym floor. We were all dancing.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh,
No,
yeah.
it isn't.
It was good.
You
We'll have to-
forget about all that little stuff that you like did, like, oh, yeah,
We'll have
announcement.
to-
Always
we'll have to work with her to get something going.
I know, you-
Yeah, maybe not.
Yes, yes.
Volunteers to have to wait the board.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna change-
Put it in writing.
I'm gonna edit that policy.
Right.
Which one like to?
Ask them more.
Oh, my goodness, don't we all?
Okay, sorry. I got carried away there. So where are we? Oh, Ms. Kardaki, your first report to the board on your school. Congratulations.
Sorry, I'm good.
Okay, so I started also with enrollment, just looking over the past 3 years and where we are currently. The kindergarten or pre-K will be expanding by 17. And we do actually we have a full wait list for that class, for the new.
For the new one.
Fully, the new class, yeah. We have a group that has been waiting, so that will increase by 17. And we do have that larger first grade class there. When some of them were going into kindergarten, it was that year that we were closed. So some parents held them back a year, which caused the increase in kindergarten last year, which is now that large first grade group.
Oh, yes,
That
okay.
makes sense.
It's a big first grade.
It is good first grade, so preparing for that at Turner, that, yeah,
The ringing.
yeah, okay.
Okay, so that is also our attendance for the first 3 weeks over the past few years. So this year, to improve our attendance, Ms. Bedell has been calling all families of students who have not come yet. We've had some 3-year-olds in pre-K that just automatically rolled over to 4-year-olds and they moved or whatnot, and weren't attending. So we're kind of weeding those out, so that our numbers are accurate and we're taking accurate attendance. She is also starting an attendance incentive. So we have class, incentives that the whole class attends school, and then she is also working on individual incentives for the students on a monthly basis, so that those students who are coming every day, whether or not their class has good attendance, they're also rewarded.
Do you have attendance by grade? I'm sorry.
I can get it.
I was gonna ask you, does this include pre-K classrooms? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry for my contribution to that.
Our PBIS rewards data, they are using PBIS reward system to reward positive behavior. So you can see that there were about 1,400 positive points given within the first 3 weeks. And those are for students who are meeting our expectations of being responsible, respectful, and kind. And as far as referrals, we have 5 minor referrals, and those are just used to track student behaviors. We can look for trends and then set plans if we see that a specific student is struggling. And just some general updates. We had our pre-K and kindergarten orientation. We had very good attendance with that. Our families were able to come in and meet for a group meeting, and then also get a tour of the school, see their child's classroom, meet the teacher, and get more information about their specific classrooms. The pictures are from our Student of the Month picnic. So the students who were awarded Student of the Month for September, they got a Happy Meal from Wendy's, and they got a little goodie bag with a Wilkinsburg t-shirt, just some little prizes, and they got to eat outside with their friends during lunchtime. So we also have some upcoming programs. The Neighborhood Learning Alliance after school program started yesterday. We currently have 24 students enrolled, and we have a few on a waiting list, just waiting to see how attendance looks and staffing, things like that, to make sure we're in ratio, student to adult ratio. And then we are also looking to start the OASIS tutoring program. I think we have, last time I checked them, we had about 9 to 10 volunteers, so, which is great. So that will be for our first grade students, and we are looking to start that in October.
Is that during class they do the Oasis, or is that?
That is during class. Their tutor will come in, they'll have a designated spot to meet, and they meet and do reading activities. They have goals that they set and outcomes that they look for and track the data for those students. And that's kind of the Kelly update. If we have questions about it. And second half is more virtual.
I got one. So the PBIS, at what age do they get it? Like, I can't imagine the pre-K kids, do they get it accumulating points and then they get something?
So it
At
is
pre-K?
school-wide, but it does look different in each classroom. Like our kindergarten teachers wanted to go back to physically handing the students $1 for a point. And then we put it in our system because they just respond better to a tangible item. And then they also incorporate it in math with the money and things like that. So it does look different, but overall we're working on giving positive rewards, focusing on that behavior and giving incentives. So it's just tailored for the age.
Okay, I didn't realize there was money involved.
All right, so more virtual focus, our enrollment is way down, which is not a bad thing. So that is what our enrollment looks like for our virtual program this year. Most of the students were previously in virtual last year, which has been very helpful starting out the year.
So how does that work? We only have 13 teachers in the virtual program. 13 students. How many teachers do we have teaching?
We currently do have 2, and they both take multiple grade levels. So they do have a very low class size. But with that, they're responsible for the intervention program implementation for their students, and they're also taking on the special ed responsibilities for students who have IEPs. So they're doing that, and they also monitor their specials, like their gym classes and things like that.
So it's like, would it, since there's 2, 4, 6 in grades 1 through 3, those 3 would be one, or those 6 would be one teacher?
We have it grouped kindergarten to 3rd grade, and then 4th grade to 6th grade.
4 to 6, yeah.
And how are they doing the specials?
They do have their gym online, and then hopefully once we hire a Spanish teacher, Miss Robertson was doing Spanish online with them. With her not being there, they have their gym and music class right now online, but we'll add in Spanish once we get it.
Are any of these students that we have from other cyber programs? Did they come to us?
We did stop one from going to a cyber program, so that was a positive. They were enrolled in TA Cyber, and they were just reaching out and said, we didn't get our stuff to start yet. We were able to put them in our program instead, so we did keep.
But we haven't recruited any back from TA Cyber or any of the other cybers.
Not with the current group.
Okay.
Last year,
Last year we got some from one of the 2nd graders who 1st grader now in 2nd grade, and he's actually back in the building, but we did bring him back from we had a couple come back from charter schools, in-person charter schools. Yeah, they're not, surprisingly not virtual, but they did come back from
I don't
in-person.
understand that. I don't
I don't
understand why
either.
we can't attract our kids back from TA Cyber.
Well, maybe they
Are we
don't,
doing intentional
Maybe-
like outreach to them?
I don't
now?
know. That's what
Like
I was
if
gonna say
we have a
too.
list of the PA Cyber kids, what does that look like that we send mail to their families? Like, you can do
I thought we were
cyber.
doing that last year.
Yeah,
Did you
we
do that
did,
last year?
yeah, all of the mailing goes to all charter school families, which includes the cyber. I did personally call the majority of,
Yeah, I remember last year.
yes, and a lot of them, I think it's gonna take some time of building up the program. A lot of the feedback I got was just that, their child's been in this program for years and it's working for them.
Oh.
So it
Wanna
is a big
change something
change, and I
that's
think we need to build up our program, and it'll take some time. But at least we are catching the ones who are not leaving us.
Yeah, that's
So,
So, I mean, the number obviously is a significant decrease from last year. Do we know that most of those students are actually in the building now?
Yeah,
Or
that
did
was
they
my
go somewhere
question.
else?
yeah, I do have that on the slide because I remember you asked before.
Okay.
So that's why I want to be upcoming.
And I will say just also that, so I met a family, not met a family, over the weekend, we had a play date, but with one of the, Silas's, classmates from last year, and she's one of the 1st grade
Yeah.
virtual students. And so but I was, asking, like, why did you decide to go virtual? Because they loved Mrs.
Yeah.
Carey, and
Yeah.
she had a good experience last year, so I was curious, but she said it was primarily, variety of reasons, but, safety was an issue. And she said, when I realized that they had the virtual option, for me, I'd rather she was working from home anyway. She said, I'd rather just keep her home because of, all the different things that had happened. Safe. So it's something that we need to make sure that families know
Yeah.
that, we're addressing the safety issues and healthy, things like that. But that was for her. She's like, I just felt more comfortable keeping her home, but she wants to go. She's not she wants to go back. She misses her friends. She probably tells
coming
you.
for testing and
Yeah, she's so
show
social.
me her cartwheels and
Yeah.
be back and jump.
How does our curriculum match to the PA side? Like, is it the same? Is it different? Why would the people want to stay with the PA side or not?
Right, for the ones that are in TA Cyber, the ones that I've spoken to, I think it's just comfortability, what they've always known. As far as our curriculum, I do know that we do offer more face-to-face meetings than TA Cyber does. For some families, a couple families I did talk to, they said they like the flexibility of not having to schedule class time. But I think that's also important for our students. So as far as curriculum, we do have a comparable cyber curriculum or accelerate program. has all of the online modules and lessons that they would experience in a cyber charter.
So do we have anything though that would attract, like, that's like, is the Spanish the part that like many people? are
Spanish, Miss Stewart has also been great with continuing band lessons for our virtual kids. A lot of them did participate in band also. They were able to come in for field trips and things like that and still have somewhat of that social aspect. So those I think are the positive of our program as opposed to going to a PA Cyber.
Oh, so this virtual kids can come, they can take instrumental music.
Yes,
Oh,
and
cool.
Miss Stewart, and she's great. She sets up the meeting with them, communicates with the family, they pick up the instrument, she meets with them online.
Did our
Okay.
marketing to the families mention all of that?
And how often do they have the specials like PE? How often are they having?
They have a daily update. They do physical activity and it's physical activity and nutrition that is covered in there.
What's the daily thing? Okay, because I was wondering if they could come in for, again, to provide that social piece, you know, maybe to be able to come in for once a week for gym class or Spanish class or something where they're able to connect socially in person if they choose. I don't know if that's an option that we could look into.
Well, when
We've
we-
been flexible with, we had a student last year, she did most of her instruction online, but on Mondays and Fridays, she did come in, to do an in-person check-in with her teacher and get that social aspect, but for different reasons, cyber worked better for her, but she was still able, we did a hybrid schedule, so I mean, we're definitely open to.
I mean,
whatever
especially with
works
these
best.
numbers, I feel like we can customize it to the
Yes.
student much more than if we had, you know,
Yeah.
large numbers. So
Yeah.
when you only have two, I mean, I feel like whatever we can do to keep, you know, keep these kids in our district, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I think that's something to consider because I was surprised to hear, you know, the number that there are only
Yeah.
two in each class. Like, so I don't know.
Yeah.
And I wondered the same things when I heard that over the weekend, like, well, you have a teacher that's only, you know, has a classroom of two. So it's good to hear these other things that they're good
Yeah,
together
and they
and
do,
they have
yeah.
other things to do.
Yeah. The next slide is attendance. Comparing to our attendance from last year, attendance is great, 90%, and I think that is a lot, has a lot to do with the fact that most of them were in virtual last year, so they were able to pick up right at the beginning of school. And this is the last year's virtual class, where they are now. So 50% return in person, 20% remain virtual, 24 just didn't live in the district anymore. And then I think 6% are going to an in-person private or charter school, which I think came out to about 2 kids.
So we did pretty well at keeping them,
Mm-hmm.
70%.
And I mean that out of district ones, our enrollment went down, but also we're saving the cost of paying for a virtual curriculum for kids that aren't in the district.
Right.
And I think to answer your question on PA Cyber, knowing people who have worked at the cyber, who no longer work in cyber, and working in a couple districts, we lost a lot of kids when it became a behavior issues. There was no accountability. There's less accountability with PA Cyber. And people who've worked there would tell you the same thing. There's a lot of, now it was working effectively for students who might be, you know, traveling or doing, you know, they might be a world, like sport athlete or something traveling, but it's going to be hard to compete with PA Cyber because accountability isn't there, where here there's a little bit more accountability of the student. There's less accountability with PA Cyber, and I would say that right there. So it's an easier process to go that route. And we will never, you know, bend that way to make it easier, that's for sure.
Yeah, they do come in for their testing. They take PSSAs, which at a charter you wouldn't have to do. More question?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
No way. Okay, everybody, good evening. Go ahead, Fred. So I just want to go through these areas of focus. These are some of the things that I've been working on to get the word out about the school district. Go ahead, Fred, please. So we did add a tab for the newsletter. We sent out some social media information about it as well. We're up to 22 people. Actually, we had at the community day this weekend, there was somebody from the class of 72 and the class of 75, and they've been added to the newsletter list. So that's cool. We're coming along. We're getting some announcements through social media to get people on the newsletter. And as soon as I get our new database, which I'm hoping to get by tomorrow, I've got two newsletters in the hopper that will be going out. So I can one is open house, and then the second one I'll talk about when we move forward.
What's the database?
The database is all of our students, our parents' information. So we've had such a influx of people coming in and out. We've had an increase in enrollment. I don't have the newest database for our school district yet to add them to our newsletter database. And then including, so also, just so you know, I've also requested all the charter schools by school and by grade. So I'll have several different good databases to work with. And you'll see why I want all that in a minute. And Jermaine's helping Siobhan, right? She said you were helping her.
Yeah, I exported some data for her, but she has to go through and add some information and remove some stuff.
All right. Yeah. By the end of the weekend, we have it all. So, in any event, you can be alumni. So, I had an idea. I don't know if we can make this work, but once the kids leave the district, we usually get rid of their email, right? But a lot of colleges right now are allowing students to keep their emails. So why can't we do that too? It'll be a way for us to keep in communication with our students for the rest of their lives, as long as they keep that email address. So we could funnel all kinds of information to them through, events that we have, keep them engaged in our community events, keep them engaged in events that we have through the school, like the musical, a band concert. Hopefully we'll have one of those this year. So it's an idea. I'm working with Jermaine. He's had a lot on his plate with the school year starting, just to see what that cost would be for us to house those emails, because there is going to be a cost for us to house and store the emails. And then I'm also working with some of the district employees who actually graduated from Wilkinsburg, and they've come up with some really clever ideas. There's about 6 alumni, Wilkinsburg alumni that are actually employees here. And so stay tuned for what we figure out with that. Let's see, what else can I share? We can go to the school store. So we have a request to start a school store. This is not a fundraiser. This is just a school store. Okay, so the vendor that I'm working with would actually create a website on their system. We would have a link to it on ours with some, some products that they could at least look at. They would click the link, God bless you, and then it would go to their page, and people could order our products. We don't have anything that we would have to house. Everything would be housed through the distributor, which I love. They would actually funnel and send everything out once a month. They would send it to each school. So people could either pick it up and not pay as much money for shipping and pick it up at the schools, or if they choose to pick it up on their own or have it delivered on their own, they would pay the extra shipping. So there are a bunch of products. You guys all have the cost sheet. I think Dr. Joe and I just need to sit down and with the principals and the rest of the admin team and just figure out what do we want from these lists and what do we want to add, and then we can get it started. The cost for us would be $25 a month to host that on their website, which I love, and they handle all the money. There's no exchange of funds at all with us.
What size is their stuff? I mean, I don't see t-shirts or hoodies or anything here.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
there
they're
are.
all in there.
Yeah, so-
There's a bunch of stuff. There's hoodies,
But you can get
t-shirts,
adult sizes?
anything.
I mean, we could send this out to alumni at
Yeah.
some point, you know what I mean? There might be somebody who would love to pick up
Yeah,
a,
sure.
they don't have one anymore and they want a
Right.
Wilkinsburg sweatshirt.
I guess I have a question about, because you mentioned that this isn't a fundraiser, and I do understand that part, but I'm curious who the vendor is that we're using and what would it look like to create some way this could be a fundraiser for people who like, because if alumni, like if my dad and mom, if they want to buy something and maybe there's an extra $5 on it because that money goes to the school, what does that look like? Especially if all we're paying for is $25 to house it on their website, which I mean, I have some thoughts on that, but I understand if we do it in-house, that's just more work for our folks. So I do get that. So like,
There's a way to work around that. So if we were to, let's say the class of 71, they were just here. And they had a wonderful time and everybody was so gracious to them. And I probably have 6 emails from them thanking everybody, which I'll share in my report this week. But one of the things we can do is we can actually house a separate, we can pay for another $25 to house something temporarily. So let's say the class 71 wanted to do a fundraiser because they're having their reunion and they wanted 71 embroidered on it. So we could actually house that, or that class could actually pay that $25 fee so that they could get their own merchandise. They don't necessarily have to have it be a fundraiser though.
well, I'm thinking of it as a fundraiser because why would we not want to maybe have some kind of
The
fund
cost would
for
be
our
significantly higher, so that if you look at the cost sheet that I gave you on 9/1, you'll see the pricing for that.
Is it in here? Because I don't have it in front of me.
It's in my report that I sent on 9/1 to the board.
Okay, I'll have to go back.
Yeah,
and
you'll have
look.
to go back and,
But-
I didn't want to take up space and it's extremely extensive. It's about this long. But there's pricing for all these items and they range from about $7 for a t-shirt to, $50 for a nice golf shirt. So if we added more onto that, that would significantly, how much, we would have to have a discussion about that. What would that look like? How much more are we going to add on to a price to make it a fundraiser?
Well, we're not making the money though. The vendor is.
The vendor, well, what he would do, because I did talk to him about that, he would have to send us a check every month for the difference. Okay, so he is just giving us what his cost is to manufacture and house and store the product, not what we would need in addition to that to make it a fundraiser.
Right, so that
it's gotta be
$7
discussion.
shirt would be $13 and we get $6 out of it or something like that, right?
Possibly, right.
Something like that. But the price to the consumer would have to go up.
Right, exactly.
Which may or may not be, but we'll have to
I
look
mean,
at
I
that
don't think
sheet.
that $13 t-shirt is,
I missed it.
that's not a $13 t-shirt versus the $7. Like, if you want the shirt, you're going to pay for it.
That's
Yep,
like, we're
that's
not
what I
selling
mean.
it to the kids at the school. It's people like us who would want to, I mean, I spend $50 on a shirt if I want one, but I think that.
I think about the shirt I just bought. Like, I literally bought it. I'm not proud of it, but I bought a t-shirt for $100.
Right. So if there
Because I
was
wanted it.
something that we were doing, with this vendor, I guess I'm not sure.
Well, they can make it a fundraiser. I just didn't want the cost to, I was told to get a school store so that people could purchase stuff. I was not told that we should make it a fundraiser. We tried to keep the cost down as low as we could.
What if we
But
had
there is
two?
an option for us to do that.
What if there was an adult Wilkinsburg school store?
I thought this was for adults.
No, what if we divided it up where our students and their families would use this one, but we created a second one that was an adult store and that one would be the one with higher prices where we make money, but we wouldn't make any money on our kids.
Well, no,
I'm just
and I
throwing
wasn't
that
right.
out.
I wasn't thinking about the kids. I was thinking about myself, like,
Yeah.
or if we had this store and my parents were like, Ashley, I want a shirt, and I could order a shirt for them. I'm not worried about this shirt cost this much for whatever reason, and there's some of the portions of the money is going to our students. I mean, I think that's just, I don't know, enticing. And I don't want to make this a long conversation because it's not that important in the big scheme of things, but it was just a thought because this vendor is going to get a lot of money from whoever
So
chooses
the pricing is
to.
actually pretty good. We've used them before and he's been very fair with pricing.
I just
What
think
we
our
do-
alumni would be willing to pay a lot for a shirt and for
Yes.
customized years and shirts. We've talked about that a long time. We are like my high school year and a couple years after, we missed out on a lot of things as far as like getting our shirts
Yeah,
and
like the paraffin.
individual things. And I know like when I wear my shirts, like we had individual shirts made for alumni things. Everyone always wants one and asks where we got them.
So Taj, well, I mean, there could be the Wilkinsburg School Store kind of in the district. And then there could be the Tiger Pride store or something like that for, for the one that would be more commercial. I'm just throwing out ideas here. If we wanted to do that, Ashley, we can do it.
We could start though, just to see what
Yes,
interest
of
we do
course.
have,
Right.
right? Just see what interest we have in it, and then, we could probably expand it or make it into some type of fundraiser and the prices go up. at
Well, that
some
would be
point.
my suggestion, because because our school district is so small, his suggestion was that we reevaluate this in 6 months and see where it leans. Is it worth it for us to house it? Is it, are we getting interest in the community in purchasing? Are our teachers purchasing? Are we helping our teachers buy these? I mean, there's a lot that needs to be discussed in terms of what this will all look like.
Yep.
Right now, I just have the items for you.
Yeah, and
I have the
that's a great
start.
start.
It's great. It's a great start. Yep.
It's just a start and it still needs to be hashed out. And I don't even know if I like all these items that he's given. I'm like, I don't know if the kids need a water bottle. We've got water bottles. I don't know if anybody wants a water bottle with our logo on it, but these are the things that we need to do.
But if you want it, you can get it.
If you want it, you can get it. But that's one of the items that we would have to buy a minimum of 100.
Oh, whoa.
So after that
So we
6 month
gotta
period-
buy it before it goes.
Only some of the items. So like the toys, the
Yeah,
water
we're
bottles,
meeting
the
next month,
coolers.
So we'll go
the-
over it.
Huh?
I said, we're meeting we'll meet
Yeah,
next month,
the
so we'll go
the
over all of
toys,
that.
water, anything that's like not a garment, okay? We would have to buy at least $100. I mean, 100 items or
Items.
less.
Got
Yeah,
it.
I mean,
Okay.
100 items or more.
Yeah, the
sorry.
garments are easy to print like
Yeah.
that. That is, that
No,
is
I get it.
Yeah.
Some of these things we could do for student of the month, so you can hand out.
Yeah, we could do that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll write that down. So it just needs, I'll take all this feedback and then, when I meet with the admin team, we can decide what makes sense and then we present it to you guys in one of the, I guess it'll be one of the weekly reports. Because I won't present for.
Well, we
another 2
can
months.
up in marketing too, right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We'll talk when we meet next month.
Yeah.
We can resume.
Okay, sounds great. So Pittsburgh Promise, I've been working with them about, I really want to shout it from the rooftops that these kids can get $20,000 over a 5-year period. And our charter school students, I don't think realize that. And Dr. Joe and I were talking last week for a moment, and he said that he had just talked to a family that had no clue that they could get this funds through, and I think they were a charter school family, right?
Mhm.
So I've been working with Pittsburgh Promise and Shayla from PBS. And we just kind of were hashing out some ideas because I really, first of all, I want our charter school families to come to the open house. But I want another letter sent out. It would be to the 7th, 8th, and 9th grade students. Because even if a student attends PPS for one day in the 9th grade, they would qualify to apply for this application. They would have to go that one day in 9th grade and then 10th, 11th, and 12th, right? So that's who we would be able to market to. After this year, like this kids in our 6th grade students that we have now, they are not going to be recipients of the Pittsburgh Promise unless that grant has been reissued. So the 7th grade students that are in the buildings now at PPS will be, they will be able to apply for the monies. But our 6th grade students, it ends in 2028. So
Is that just,
Pittsburgh Promise program?
while they haven't been given the grant money yet. They
I
haven't had
just
a
saw that
promise.
they got some huge grant.
they're going to get, they're not going to stop the
Nah, it'll
process.
go.
They're not,
They
they're
told
going to.
us not to advertise to anybody.
Well,
below
yeah, because
7th grade.
they gotta secure it, but yeah.
So I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm just the messenger here. I don't write the check. So, but in any event, we do have an opportunity to work with the 7th, 8th, and 9th grade students who are in charter schools to get them over into the PPS system so that they can be opportunists and maybe take advantage of this, should they be interested in. And they've also had a lowering of the GPA, so it's a 2.0 to 2.4, but they attended junior college first. So this opens up a lot of doors for students that might normally not have had an opportunity to go to school. It doesn't necessarily have to be a 2-year school or a 4-year school. It can be a technical school, as you know. And all of that would be in the marketing that we would send out in the letter. Okay, so also, I'm putting together a list of real estate agents. I'd like to have them come to the open house. The real estate agent list is almost finished. I talked with Carrie and Rachel about doing guided tours. Maybe the counselors could do them during open house. If that doesn't work, then maybe that we can offer them a tour at a different time. But I really would like to get them in-house. I would like them to see the schools. I would like them to see how engaged the students are and all the cool things that we're doing. So that is.
I think that's a great idea.
Because they
Yeah.
suck at selling our district to families still. And if I hear another real estate agent talk bad about our school, I'm going to scream.
Well, what they're doing now is they're selling it based on taxes coming down. You can get a lot for your money,
Yeah.
but they still
Oh,
don't
it's
sell
up
the
and
school
coming
district.
Wilkinsburg now. The up and coming Wilkinsburg.
Well, I like that. I'm glad to hear that because it was
I
up and coming
mean-
Lawrenceville and look what happened there. Or it was up
Well,
and
I don't
coming
want
East Liberty, and
Lawrenceville
look
to
what's
happen
happened there. So-
I don't want that to happen here now. So that's actually the worry of how they're doing it, because they're not doing it from a space of like, this is an area where you can send your kids to a school where they can get, a quality education. I know our test scores don't help it, and I get that, but I appreciate this level of thinking.
Well, we're going to make an A+ effort to see what we can do. And if you have somebody that you know that's a real estate agent that should be on this list, then please let me know.
He actually was going to connect you with Catapult, and Catapult Greater Pittsburgh, which is a nonprofit, but they have a whole real estate space that they tap into, and they specifically work with Black families for home
Okay.
ownership. So I think they would be able to provide you with a good list of real estate agents to tap into.
Good.
Okay,
Good,
that'd be
good.
awesome.
Yeah.
And if you think there's an opportunity for us to, have Dr. Joe speak, or, sorry, Dr. Joe, I'm volunteering.
That's all right.
He's good at that.
To have them speak at like one of their, maybe if they have a conference or something like that for these families, or an event where they would be able to a lunch and learn, something like that. We can certainly look into that opportunity as well.
I will inquire, because we do have a home ownership program.
Okay.
So there possibly.
Right, I'm gonna write that down. Sorry, I'm taking notes here. Okay,
No, that's fine.
we can go on to the next one. So my friend Mitch, who, they're really being so good to us. I mean, they've just been so delightful. They really feel that our websites, because we had built 3 new websites on their pages. And they love the photos. As soon as I get licensed to start posting photos from our Do Not Photo list, I will start adding different photos so that it brings up our Googleability and all that fun stuff. But for the month of August, we had 210 people who came to the Wilkinsburg School District website, or the niche site. 25 of them clicked onto our website or went to our social media in August. And then from there, it looked like we had 2 people that either called the schools, because the virtual tours, you call the schools to schedule that. So they either call the schools or they actually call the schools to enroll. And we had 3 applicants, 3 enrollments from Mitch so far, okay, for the month of August. So, I mean, for the size of the school district we are, I was pretty happy with the results. Mitch thinks that they're awesome. So that's good. I like that.
Better than 0.
Yeah, better than 0. And then you could see too, the peer school preferences, how many they have had look at their sites as well. You can see that we're a lot higher than most of them, so we love that too. Okay, let's see. Do you want to go on? So Niche, every July, Niche does this reassessment of the schools, and they pull all the information from the Department of Education, the Pennsylvania Department of Education. And so we are still considered a C- according to what information I found. I've talked to Summer. and Dr. Joe, we still are waiting for our numbers, because I want to make sure that these are accurate, and that they reflect what is actually indeed what we're doing in our buildings. So the jury's still out on it, but, you know, I want to be transparent, because this is what they're saying about us on niche right now. Okay? You can go on.
Kelly, do they say where they got these numbers? They're from 2 years ago testing? They're not
No.
from last year's testing?
Yeah, they're from last year's testing.
Well, we don't even have those
From
scores
spring
yet.
of this year?
They said it's from last year's, it's from last year's testing. That's what they said.
Okay.
So that's why.
I'm just saying, I can't
Yeah,
imagine
no,
they
I've
have
had
it
3
before we have
conversations
it.
with them about
Well,
that.
November, so we did plan November. You will get a presentation from our data teams, and then get another presentation in, I think we said March, trying to remember March, for the mid-year data. So you guys can actually see the data from the PSSA spring, and then also from the mid-year data points.
Yeah, and if
So-
there's discrepancies, are we able to,
Yes, we were able to have a conversation with them. I don't know if it'll mean anything, but we can at least have the conversation. Dr. Joe mentioned that we can get our growth data as well.
Right.
So I have, we're going to try to have a conversation with Niche too, to see if that could be part of their algorithm. I don't know if it can be, but once I get the growth data, I can actually put it onto our websites the 3 websites that we have. So maybe that will push out some more positive information, but you know, we're waiting on that data.
Yeah, it's frustrating that they would use that because the government isn't even using proficient and advanced anymore. They're looking more at the growth model index, because the ultimate goal is to get every kid to graduate. And some start here, some start here.
Yes.
So
that's it, that's.
So we haven't even seen our birth data for a long time either. We haven't seen our plus.
you'll see that.
Yeah, I know you're gonna, I keep waiting for it, but, it would be good to show them both. Yes, they may not be what they are in Fox Chapel, but look at our growth.
Right.
And I'm curious to see how
Yeah.
how their growth is, because their kids start so high, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are they is the school making progress? Yeah, I don't know.
That's a good point.
So, every month Niche offers $1,000 in cash, to, it's either cash or a scholarship, to a family who takes a survey and reviews a school district. So I have a newsletter ready to push out, to have families go ahead and do this, and hopefully we have some winners. We can do this every single month, and hopefully we'll get some reviews about our school district on our website. What it does is it takes them to the survey, they fill out the survey, then they have to register for an account, and their name is entered into the drawing. Okay. So with Niche 2, we get 2 targeted promotions. And the targeted promotion, this is not actually accurate. They sent me a new one today. First of all, the colors, they wouldn't change the colors because it's Niche branded. I tried to get it into our Wilkesburg colors, but they wouldn't allow that. And I can't see what that little white blue green thing says, event details, I think it says. I had them change it to schedule a tour. So that's what's being on there now. So they can schedule a tour or call the schools to schedule a tour, and it goes right to the link on the website to do that.
They pick the pictures too?
Pardon me?
They pick those pictures too?
The pictures, yeah, they pick those too. So I just had to give them the content.
And then when they schedule a tour, who gives the tours?
Well, please. They're usually it's either Jordan or Kelly, right? It's usually guidance usually does the tours from my recollection, and I have witnessed them going through the building. So I don't know with who. We don't have an
Jordan
exact
or Kelly, the
person,
counselors.
but we would give it.
Apparently that's what it's been.
Kelly takes the net.
Okay, thank you.
Kelly, I think is that Kelly now. And-
Oh.
Oh, I was saying
Yeah,
Kelly,
what
not
is that?
Kelly.
And
Yeah, I
Okay.
wanted the full, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that they.
Yeah, they did
Switched this
something.
year.
Yeah. Okay, so that is happening as we speak right now. So we're advertising through Niche, our open house. Google Analytics look pretty strong. The number that you might want to look at is in the second lower column. You'll see that there's a referral of I think it's 114, I can't see.
Yeah, it's 120.
114. So those would come from probably niche or our social media or that redirected people to our website. So it's pretty positive. I mean, 2.4K in a month on our site is extremely high. When I started here, I think our high number was probably 600 a month. So we're getting more people visiting, which is good.
It's better than where we were 5 years ago.
Well, as long as you get progress, right?
Right.
That's your progress report. And then I hope you all had a chance to look at the videos. We are making traction with that too. Wilkinsburg, the Wilkinsburg PBS Westinghouse video, we've had 126 views, and then with our Wilkinsburg promotion, we've had 369, and that's in about a month and a half. So I think people are interested in that. Any questions at all?
I do. So, if you go to, so we were talking about real estate, and so, a lot of people use Zillow.com, sites like that, when you go to look for homes in areas. And then you always scroll down, and on Zillow, for example, it's great schools, rating. And we on there, is there a way that we can get that stuff updated? Because right now, like it does, first of all, Kelly's not even listed. It's Turner Elementary, 3 out of 10. And then Wilkinsburg Middle School, 1 out of 10. And Wilkinsburg Senior High School, 2 out of 10. We don't even have those middle school and high school. So
For like 8 years.
Yeah. So is there a way that we can
I'll
like
look into
contact them and get it? Because a lot of people
We gotta
look at
pay.
it, so
I'll look into it.
we got a page.
Oh, yeah, we gotta pay. It's a similar organization as Niche. I mean, I'm not a fan of either organization, because it's an easy way for them to create a business and make money and just
Right.
do it.
Right. But those schools don't even exist.
Were
So
you
it's
here when you
false.
joined Niche?
Yes.
So we kind of, unfortunately, it's something you have to do. And great schools, we would have to pay some more.
But my thing is, it's not, we don't have to like get into some
We just want to
partnership
get
with them.
that be accurate. with the school district.
Exactly. Those schools don't exist anymore.
Right.
So they can't have that. Legally, we could probably threaten, right, to say like, you can't have that. We don't even have those schools
We don't even have
anymore.
those schools.
Because it makes it look really bad.
Right.
You got 1 out of 10 score for a school that doesn't exist, and that's gonna turn people
I'll
away.
contact them and see what I can find out.
They should, right, if anything, yeah, it should say yes for high schools, or
Okay.
PBS high school should be listed for those.
All right, I'll check
For
into
middle
it.
school and high school.
Anything else?
Yeah, here it is, right?
Okay.
No, that's so
Thank
true.
you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's great.
Oh yeah, and that, just to let y'all know, y'all are allowed to take however many pictures y'all need to of my child, whenever. I told her dad, I said she's the poster child if they need her, so shoot away at her with the camera.
And I have that.
Jeez, you get your-
I know, and her dads typically,
Carrie, do you mind-
get them both.
Oh, no. No, go. Go home.
Oh, yeah, you guys don't.
Yeah, you guys can go.
Oh, yes.
She gets your-
Yes, please go home and rest.
Yeah,
for our
yeah, sorry.
babies tomorrow morning. I think mine stopped crying.
Welcome.
Yeah, you're
She
welcome, but I mean,
she
really.
had someone crying this morning. She like popped out of Dante's arms and went to his little girl, was like, it's gonna be okay. I was like, Bella, you can't have the principal coming out here picking you up every morning, okay? You can walk in.
You see, I ain't get up.
All right, what's next?
Jermaine has something on the agenda.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's like getting here for safety reasons. Let's see, so we don't have facilities this week. Deb, you'll have a finance thing next week, right? Or you-
Next week.
Okay. Okay, we'll have to remember that comes up during planning, all right? So next week, we will have a vote to approve the minutes. Please check them out. And now we can come down into instructional staff.
Oh, no, you can't go that fast over the minutes, because I have a lot of questions on the minutes. Okay, so first of all, the minutes last week, the minutes should reflect that there was an executive session held. We had an executive session last month, and the minutes don't reflect that.
I thought we had a couple really, but okay.
Well, I don't know when they all were, but I know I attended one,
Okay.
and it's not on there. And then, I know these are my pet peeves, but for the, an item 13B, which was the curriculum, thing that we submitted, or no, 13B was a motion. It was supposed to reflect the total cost in the motion. I know we didn't get, but we talked about that. And that's not reflected in the minutes.
105,000, is it?
For 13B, if you look at the meeting
Yeah,
minutes,
it's too small for me to see it on here.
I'm lost. I lost my connection. Let me try to get, hang on.
This one are on. I don't have the minutes and
if I go to the minutes, I will lose my notes. The minutes are right here. You have to.
Oh,
click on
The
the
total cost of
minutes.
the after-school program.
okay. I didn't know that was clickable. Got it.
So if you look at 13B, that motion, board action is requested to approve the extension of the AIU agreement. Oh, no, that's 13A, 13B. This is the after-school program. And it needed the total amount
Oh, yeah.
and the cost. The same thing with. Shoot, no, I lost it.
What you looking for?
I'm looking for my notes.
I was about to say, I
That needs to
could,
be
if you want to look
corrected.
at mine while you look at your notes.
No, I need, okay,
You can look at the minutes and then pull your
Looks
notes up.
like total cost is
105, right?
104,088.
so. So 13C, it was supposed to say at no cost to the district. These are all things that we added that at least they need to be reflected in the minutes. And then 13I, which was the report, the curriculum report that we submitted, there were three attachments that were incorrect. Two of them have been corrected, but the one that says about the academic standards, it still says no to the question, would aligning locally developed curriculum to the academic standards be a priority in your comprehensive plan? And it still says no in that one. So that needs to be the correct attachment.
So you have to refix that and send it in.
Yeah, so I think she can pull that back off with the corrected version and send that to you.
Yeah, the other two were changes from last time were corrected. but
She's
not-
probably
I
gonna-
shared the uploaded version, but I can send it again. My eyes are good still with these glasses on.
13I.
Who'd she share it with?
It was on the
That should put a
screen.
note on it.
Okay.
Thank you, Summer. Because I remember we talked about that and
Yeah.
Summer mentioned yeah.
Right, she had sent it. And the other two they were changed, at least when I looked at them, but I can't keep looking at them. I'm not gonna look at them anymore. So for next week, when we vote on it, I hope they're the right ones.
Me too.
Looks like Joe's gonna make sure that happens.
Okay, write them all down.
Oh, why didn't I just stay here? It's so much easier.
Yeah, what?
No, that was it,
Oh, good.
on the meeting minutes, yes, sorry.
Okay. No, you're good.
I'm sorry, let me get out of here. What's next, Monica? I can't see, let me go. Oh, and next week, these are all Dr. Joe's.
Just, yeah. For instructional staff, we'll be approving the resignation of Elizabeth Freiberger, behavior specialist, effective September 1, 2022. And then if we're in executive session, if you have questions or concerns on these, we can talk about them. Board will also be accepting or approving the resignation of Samantha Robertson, Spanish teacher at Kelly Primary, effective September 8th, 2022. And approve the resignation of Letta Cameron, district social worker, effective September 15th, 2022. Board action requested to accept the resignation of Lindsay Burton as a long-term sub effective September 27th, 2022. She's actually got, you'll see down below that she's being recommended for full-time position. So we will have to fill that position.
For which one?
The resignation of Lindsay Burton as a long-term sub. We will have to fill that position. And like I said, if you have questions on any of the resignations, I can, in executive session, discuss. Unpaid leave for Casey Feldman, phys ed teacher at Kelly Primary for October 28th, 2022 and April 28th, 2023. For family reasons. Board action will be requesting to approve the hiring of Lindsay Burton as a pre-K teacher at a step 3 salary of $46,863 and all her terms, conditions of the current CBA effective September 28th, 2022. And another new hire, this is the one we sent, and you guys should have had all these resumes in the weekly updates. Board action request to ratify the hiring of Michael Lewis as a 4th grade teacher at Turner Intermediate, step 4 salary of $47,363 and all her terms and conditions of the current CBA effective September 12th, 2022. And board action will be requesting to approve Stephanie De La Paz as a Spanish teacher for Kelly Primary at a step 3 salary of $46,863 and all their terms and conditions per the current CBA to be paid for from the general fund.
How'd you find her?
I don't know, because this was a topic of conversation today with the superintendent of Allegheny County. Everybody's looking for the 490 teachers.
Yes.
Emily reached out to her.
Oh, that's right. Emily, our teacher at Turner, reached out.
Oh, that's right, you said that. And remember in the agenda planning meeting, we were talking about how hard it was gonna be?
Yeah.
We were gonna get you emergency certified to go teach Spanish.
Disappointed.
Is the teacher at Turner the teacher that has the Instagram, this Mrs. Spanish teacher? Is that
Yes.
her? Okay, I'm about to say, that's not the one who quit, is it?
No.
Yeah.
Great, okay.
She is also the teacher who runs our after-school program, too.
Okay.
She does everything.
Yeah, she loves the kids. I love her.
Yeah, she's tremendous.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay, Rick.
Resignation of our maintenance employee, Derek Hawthorne. He's probably only been here about 9 months.
We also have a resignation of Marissa Mason as a pre-K lunch aide effective September 27th, 2022. But I believe, next month. She, board actually requested to approve Marissa Mason as a pre-K teaching assistant at an hourly rate of $18.04 and all the terms and conditions.
Does she have kids in the system? Okay, I was just wondering if I met her. Okay.
She's Bellamy. She was Bellamy. Lunch aide.
Lunch
but not
aide.
anymore.
She doesn't live in the district, but she's been a part of the pre-K program for many years. So we've encouraged her anytime something opens to move out of the lunch aide position. So we're really excited for her to be a part of the new pre-K classroom in that role. But Ms. Tokarski does not want to give her up.
I know. Bellamy came and I was like, Miss Mason cut my sandwich. Miss Mason put my mayonnaise on. Okay.
New hire, I guess this is a replacement. Board action requested to approve the hiring of a pre-K lunch aide, Alexandria Mosley, at an hourly rate of $13.50, paid for from the pre-K funds.
Are these salaries?
That's
or
actually Marissa's daughter, who's currently in school for psychology. That's going to come and work the lunch aid program and be a lunch aide.
What's the effective date on this?
Oh, we need effective date.
It would be after the voting meeting.
Like the day after, or, I mean.
Yes.
Okay.
We need a higher date on the motion.
Yeah.
Is the hourly rate set by the teachers?
Not for pre-K.
Okay.
It's set by the board. And we just increased it from $10 to $13.50 about 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I know I gotta talk to the money lady back here, but I don't know if can I go up to at least 15? Can we talk about that? At least y'all know how I feel about these hourly rates in 2022 at the time of a recession and gas being $4.
We're really close to having, a an update for the board about where we are with the two contracts we're working on and what we're doing with hourly wages there. So that would be a good time, I think, to bring that up. Just because you gotta have, it's gotta be, we're trying to make it a program,
Right,
you know what I
right,
mean?
right.
So like, we're really trying to do something for the paras. I can't talk too much, but
No, I
anyway,
know.
we're
And
gonna get an
I've
update
got
on,
an inkling of that, so I'm glad to hear that. I just, when I see a 1350 is.
me too.
That, I mean, as much as my child talks about the lunch aid in my house.
Yep.
Clearly, she's helpful.
Yep, yep.
So.
That's making an impact on that child. So yeah, so that's the place we gotta bring it up, you know,
Okay.
and that, I think that'll be within the next month.
Okay,
Yeah, so-
that sounds good.
Thank you, for
Mhm.
that.
And
I didn't, because I didn't have to do it.
I was going to say that position's not in their contract. Just to note that, but
What's that mean?
like they're not, the pre-K lunch
Part of
aid's
the
not
bargaining
like
agreement.
like
There
a
you go.
contracted position like the Paris.
Yes, I know, I know, Summer, I just meant that we're trying to make it we're trying to have a schedule of wages, you know what I mean? That's somewhat consistent across the district, whether they're in the bargaining unit or not, we ought to be, you know what I mean? We ought to be somehow consistent with what we're paying people for sort of equivalent amounts of work.
Yeah,
So
'cause I mean.
That's
going
what it
from-
was though, but thanks, Summer.
Yeah, because going from 13 to 8, and I'm assuming that's what they're making now. I don't know if there's like increment raises that they receive every year or anything. Oh,
Yep.
no. So
Yep.
yeah, I mean,
Nope, there aren't raises until we raise them.
so the is the teaching assistant rate also a part of the union contract?
Right.
So we can't do anything on that.
Not until this contract's settled.
Well,
when it
when
comes
you
up.
get, when you see what we're proposing, you know, the final thing, you can say, I think we ought to increase that. Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because
Right.
it comes to the board before we send that final offer to the union.
You think the union would push back on wanting to pay people more?
No, but
I
I,
don't think we should be talking.
no, we
about
can't talk about it though.
Okay.
But the answer is no. The
Okay.
answer is no.
Thank
But that's as far as we have to go. Okay. But I like where you're going there, Ashley. I really do. Not that what I like matters, but, so is that it, Dr. Malushny?
One more.
Oh, okay.
And we have to have effective date. Board actually requested to approve Paige McCray as a pre-K lunch aide at $13.50 an hour. Is that effective date summer after board meeting?
Yes, because she will be going into the new classroom.
Okay.
Gotcha.
All right, committee reports. There was no joint tax committee
Can we go back
meeting.
to,
It's next.
Ms. McCray, that also needs an effective date.
Yeah, we said that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You
I
just
was
missed.
I was talking.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, that's what happens. You have a sidebar, you're missing, Debbie.
It was my fault.
Uh-huh. Okay, so joint tax did not meet. It's supposed to meet next Monday, but I won't be here. I asked them if there's no real business to cancel that meeting. I haven't heard back yet. Actually, John's gonna be gone anyway, so I can't imagine them having a meeting. Michael Rose, are you on? I didn't see him on. Oh, he couldn't attend. Okay, and they don't need yet any either. And Eastern area, Eric, anything new? Is Eric still here? Oh, anything on Eastern area, an update?
I don't have anything to talk about on Eastern area, but I came this evening so I could speak a little bit instead about my resignation, which I'm tendering right now.
This is.
So I'm out of here. And I just want to make it clear in case anybody has any reasons offered to them later on about why I'm quitting. I'm quitting because of that man and these two women.
I take it as a compliment.
Okay.
All right.
Feel free to have your own dialogue.
Okay, good night. Thank you for your service. Sorry, I know that was very harsh, but I shouldn't have done it. If he's quitting because of me, that's fine. You could have waited till December. Okay, so I guess we don't have a report on Houston, but this is about the fourth time Eric's done that.
Can we make it like official though, because he has said he's quitting several
We
times?
can't vote on it tonight, I don't think, but,
Well, so
There are rules about it. If a board member fails to, attend, meetings, so many, and I believe it is in the school code, but, I think there's rules. If a board member fails to meet so many times,
We can eject them.
right, in this situation, if he's saying he's resigning now, he's resigning.
I mean, he's resigned in front of the whole board. We'll have to vote next week to accept his
Right,
resignation.
we have, you have to vote.
But I think Matt has said that it's effective at the
Effective
time they
immediately.
tender the
If we
resignation,
accept,
so,
yeah.
Right.
okay. Let's see, we'll have the treasurer's report next week, Danny.
Right, we'll be voting on our treasurer's report next week, and we won't go into detail right now.
Okay.
Can I ask a question on the treasurer's report?
Sure.
We used to include in the treasurer's report the financial statements and the
Right.
balance sheet as a record with the,
Right.
do
We
we
said
no
we
longer
don't,
do that?
we do, but we can't do it until after the audit's done because it's gonna change.
No, but I'm just saying the regular financial statement
The
and
balance
the
sheet and the
balance
profit
sheet.
and loss, well, that'll fluctuate when we come in and start making our adjusting entries. That's what we always wait till after
But
the
that,
audit.
I'm not I'm just talking about the regular, we would do the monthly financial statements as part of this report. Do we no longer do that anymore?
I'm lost on what you say monthly. You're talking about the balance sheet.
I'm
Right.
talking like the reports that we review at finance, the income statement. We always had an income statement and we'd have a balance sheet.
Correct.
So we should still be able to do that.
Oh, there was an income
Well,
statement.
we used
that
to, we
have.
did every month up until June, and then we said until the audit's done, because the beginning balances will change after the audit's.
The only beginning balances will only change on the balance sheet. But you
Right.
can still, we still have a balance sheet. We should.
Yeah, but if you're gonna make part of the record an accurate document. That's fine. I don't
But it's
care.
accurate as a
Okay,
whatever's
that's
on
fine.
our books, but I'm just asking you a question.
Yeah, I mean, we
used to
just-
do that. We no longer do that.
No, we do it. And we did it up until June. I'm just saying we haven't
So we
done.
didn't do it in July or
No,
August
Right, because of the audit.
or September now.
But I think if you look back too, I don't think we did it last year either.
Oh, yeah,
During-
we
during
did
that
it
time.
every
Not in
month.
July and August.
I think
We
so.
can pull, it. Okay.
But
I can add it. That's not a big deal. It's there.
if not, we should put it as the records. We should do it under the finance report then. I just think they have to be there. You have to have monthly reports, financial reports as part of your monthly minutes.
Well, we can put it in as unaudited. We can mark it as unaudited.
But we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Travel, Rick.
There's a lot of travel on here this month, so you might want to take a look at the spreadsheet. It's $8,100 of travel between field trips and conferences.
Okay, yeah, check that out, people, if you have any questions. Yeah, it'd be better to get them out of the way, sooner rather than later. Policy and planning, Dr. Malushnik.
Yes, Ms. Comins and I were working on these policies. So right now, we found out after going through it that we have to retire policies 339, 439, and 539. PSBA is trying to consolidate and simplify the policies. So we'll be asking to retire those policies, and you'll see they're similar just for different personnel. And then we'll be asking for to approve the first reading of policy 339 on compensated leave as amended. We did take some of the recommendations from Matt Huffman on this. Took some of PSBA's, but we leaned towards Matt Huffman's on this, and I sent that out to people.
And new folks, we have a contract with PSBA to go through all of our policies and make them up to date as they possibly can, based on what is coming out of PDE and everything else. But we run them by Matt first to make sure that what they're recommending is really appropriate for our district, and we review them ourselves, so.
When I was looking at the policy, though, it's not clear to me which leaves need board approval. And I mean, it looks like we're taking out some things that make it clear what's there, and we're making it more vague, which makes me very nervous. So, like, what are bona fide emergencies and personal reasons that
Well, that leaves it up to us to make those decisions.
Right, but then how do we know that you're consistent with those things? And I'm not saying you in
Yeah.
particular, but, you know, you as a superintendent, somebody else as a superintendent could have different opinions. I mean,
'Cause
where
there's-
before it was very clear what those, emergencies or what those were.
Mhm.
Uh,
Well, in this case, I can actually do what I do now. I can communicate with the board on the unpaid leaves. And whether I can give a recommendation to the board and then you guys could decide.
Where's the money for that?
I can see,
Where's that?
authorize to give the superintendent
Um,
non-fiscal.
under the first
First
hold on.
one, the 439?
Yeah, I can't open it right now. I need to have my head open it. So,
So the first three are granted by superintendent, depending on if it's, I see what you're saying, the bona fide. How do we know it's consistent on my end?
right, because if you look at the guidelines that they gave, that you're crossing out, you know, for child rearing, medical conditions, religious observance, restoration of health, elected public office, emergency, those are all taken out, and those would,
That was taken out by PSBA.
right, I know,
Yeah.
and I'm saying PSBA is making it very vague,
Oh,
right? So,
Usually when PSBA makes those changes, it's because it reflects changes to the law, school code, that kind of thing. So, I'm not sure, I didn't look if there's anything Matt did, but I'm guessing that's reflecting something that changed, in state law.
yeah, somehow the state law changes because they are so vague, they make it very unclear, and we end up having to pay lawyers to make it clear for us, because when we get lawsuits, so. I'm just saying that maybe we could at least put some things down so it's consistent, because people have different standards, you know. Like I said, this is not just for one superintendent, one administration, this is for, we want to put policies in place for the next 10 years.
I mean, I could talk with Matt on it. I mean, I sent it out. That's why I wanted to get,
Yeah.
when we brought it to the board, we kind of brought it to as this here.
And then it has all other requests for unpaid leave of absence must receive the prior approval of the board of school directors. What are the other requests? Which are the bona fide requests, and what are the other requests that need the board approval? It's just, to me, it's just not clear.
so what's up?
Okay, I'm in the first one, so I'm like, which one are you reading?
I'm in the one that, the first read of the policy that we're actually going to approve. We're
Well, there's
retiring,
three. Oh,
we're retiring 3 of them, but we're also asking for approval.
so you're not looking at the retired
No,
document. That's why I'm like, where are we reading?
I'm looking at the one that we're putting in place.
I mean, I can ask Matt why what the decision was on why we don't specify specifically. But I think the reason probably was to give us some leeway on the board and the superintendent, some leeway on that.
It does, and I worry about the consistency of.
Oh, I understand that. Yeah, I understand that.
Superintendents, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Well, we can get Matt to explain to us what his thinking was next week. We don't have to vote on it next week,
yeah,
I mean, it can always,
Just the first read. I thought we did more than one, maybe. Am I
oh, I
wrong?
thought this was I thought
no,
this
this
was.
is the first.
First
Oh,
read.
okay,
It is the
fine then.
first read.
So,
I know generally, the thinking is probably not what Dr. Luce is saying, is that you want to make sure your policies, number one, aren't more restrictive than state law. You want to have as much leeway as you possibly can, and as much discretion as you possibly can to make decisions when there is a gray area or a situation that may not come in under those specified items, but you still want to give leave anyway. That's probably the reason why as well, and maybe, again, like I said, there are changes in state law, but that's as Dr. Luce was saying, you don't want to find yourself into, oh, we can only give leave for these 3 reasons, 4 reasons, whatever.
No, but they were examples, so they
Yeah.
were kind of guidelines for you to follow. They weren't saying everything, but it gives you at least some guidelines. So
But it
that
doesn't
we're
say that either.
consistent. So that we're consistent, so for those types of things, we do that for everyone. Instead of, well, I don't like this particular teacher, I'm not going to grant them that, but you just granted it to somebody else, because the boards don't remember that. And then that's what gets the district in trouble, and then we have lawsuits filed against us, and then you guys, because lawyers like to make it, but come on now.
Believe me, I mean, you want to avoid those type of situations, absolutely. But I hear what you're saying, and I'm sure Matt, if you looked at it, can
Yeah.
chime in.
Yeah, because I guess I don't read these following purposes as examples. I read these as these are it. And so that to me puts, it says leave can be taken for the following purposes.
And that's it, those 6.
Yeah, right, those are probably, but those are some examples, and that's all I'm saying, it kind of gives you some guidelines, yeah. But
If
and
you want to take them as guidelines, or someone can take that and say, well, it's not one of these reasons, so.
But you could
I'm
put
not-
another one in for, emergency could be anything, or you could put in and at the discretion of, but at least you have some guidelines and consistency.
You will see there is language, the board reserves the right to specify situations or leave anything. So it's basically saying, if you want to lay out guidelines, in addition to these policies, to direct superintendent or the school district, you can do that.
Right, and that's what I mean, it's kind of, it says the board can do this, but we don't.
And you can have, in addition to your policy, you can have sort of administrative guidelines that are kept in addition to the policy that's the official policy.
I mean,
Yeah, see, I don't-
policies are the one thing that the board is responsible for doing and making sure that things are implemented. So I think that's what you have to.
Well, I
Yeah.
guess I mean, I see your point, Debbie, but I also see the point of leaving it in the general context that it is, because these rules are here and people gonna do what they're gonna do. And I think that that's a part of the board's, anytime someone leaves, we have to see it. It
But
has to be.
It's not clear which ones need board approval and which ones are at the discretion. To me, it's not clear which ones are at the discretion of the superintendent versus which ones need board approval.
That's what I was just trying to see, find out too, Deb. Everybody,
I'm just saying that I think this could probably need a little bit more work, and maybe if we look at the policies and then maybe make some suggestions to you, to you as to what some changes could be. I don't want to
Mhm.
belabor it tonight, but
Well, I mean, I'll reach out to Matt tomorrow too as well, and.
yeah,
But,
try
you know,
I don't mind the simplification of it personally.
And it looks like in terms of superintendent approval versus board approval, it looks like superintendent approval is just for bona fide emergencies or personal reasons. Because anything else, unpaid leave for any other reason, is prior board approval.
Could we just do an addendum of examples? I mean, is that what you're thinking of? That we would consider?
I'm just saying that it's not clear what those bona fide emergencies and personal reasons could be. And I just think we should have some guidelines of what to be consistent from one superintendent to another. Because we haven't looked at these policies for how long? 2004?
Before I was even, I won't explain that further, but
So they're
yeah.
gonna be beyond Dr. Joe.
Well,
So-
and I think that's what I mean, them being beyond Dr. Joe, and what maybe Dr. Joe thinks is an emergency, someone else might not think is
Right.
an emergency. So,
Well, but if you have emergency surgery, you have death in the family, I mean, there's certain things I think we could agree on.
but someone might call and say, I have an emergency and not want to give details.
Yeah.
I have an emergency. I can't, whatever. do we have to force them out of saying what their emergency is?
No, because it says in personal reasons too. So it could just say, I needed for personal reasons. Okay, so we wanted to be very vague and let them take,
Well, they
leaves
have to
of
be,
abs-
they have to be authorized, the superintendent, you know, like I guess that's where the superintendent comes into play, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they come in and they just say, this is it, and the superintendent's always like, yeah, woo.
Yeah, but I worry because if it's like unpaid leaves of absence, you know, I'm willing to take an unpaid leave, but what does that do to disrupt the
Yeah,
classroom?
And I think the important part of this was where I was talking to Matt as well was the number of unpaid days that people were taking last year. So we met with the board or the union leadership this summer. And then I talked with him, and I think the biggest part of this is that up to 3 days. We didn't have that before. I don't think we had that before. And that was the one thing that we definitely wanted to address.
Sure.
Because anything after that, you may not be employed any longer.
Because you could have it, and it's happened to other school districts where everybody just calls off for personal reasons, right?
Yeah, well, so that was the big reason.
But if it gives you
address
this
this.
limit, doesn't that, you can't do it, no matter what if you use 3 emergencies by January, then you don't get no more.
True, but you get everybody calling on the same day. Who knows? What do they call that? What do they call that? Something.
Yeah.
A call out.
Yeah.
I'm not being trying to be difficult. I'm just trying to say our.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
I'm listening. Listen, I'll talk with him tomorrow. We'll see where we're at. I'm listening. Trust me, I understand where you're coming from on it.
And,
as
and
well.
I'll take a little bit more look at it and I'll send just some thoughts, what
Okay,
maybe suggestions.
No, yeah.
I haven't looked at it that closely, but
because I understand what the point you're trying to make, so.
Okay. Let's see, we have a lot left here. Yeah, we do. Okay, well, next week we'll have these 2 proposals on the geothermal thing and the other thing.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, if you can look in there to see a technical, and what he was just talking about, what Bill was just talking about, that we may have to do, but he will also have some more feedback, he said, for us on that. We may not spend as much. And same thing with the approval for the asbestos hazardous material for $1,970. And abatement design specification that cost of $2,500 for Kelly Primary. Oh, this is the one okay. So it is, we double checked, that number will have to change.
What's that?
Debbie asked us at the last, earlier in the meeting, we're actually request to approve the attached agreement with Oz for a 5-year term. Was it 5 years or was it 4? Was it 5?
5 years.
Okay.
You know what? I added a new resolution. If you want to go down, it's under I. So
There it is.
Yeah, I changed it.
Oh, you
because-
changed it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So I'll delete, C.
I double checked with him on that and, with Ed Rosiak on that. So it has changed. So it's not to exceed $3,500.
Wait, which one did you read?
So, well, it's on the agenda. It's on the board now. So it's gonna be H.
It originally stated it was, remember you were asking at the
right,
finance
it
meeting?
doesn't make, yeah, there were more numbers in there than what the resolution or what the motion was saying.
Yes,
So
so
it
it did,
should say 3,500,
it
not
did include both,
1,250.
yeah.
Okay,
Not to exceed.
so it's for both
Yes.
components.
Both components. I checked with them earlier right there. Rick?
You skipped a bunch of.
I did?
Starting with
Because
C,
we moved
PCCD grant.
Yeah.
Well, mine jumped, so you moved.
Yeah, because
updated
when I
it, 'cause you
deleted-
updated
Okay.
it,
Yeah, some
so
of mine are
jumped
blank
up.
Refresh your screen.
Yeah, I just refreshed my screen.
All right, yeah.
Oh.
This would be, this one here is what we'll be asking to hire a PCCD grant service coordinator through, per the attached at a cost of $82,833, funded by and you can read over the proposal and what the role would be. And it'll be funded by, the 2022, is that 2022, 23, is that supposed to be 23 grant?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. PCCD Health and Security Grant. That grant was for approximately $250,000, and some of it has to be spent for social emotional learning and some for security and safety. So this would help with the social emotional learning, and you can see what the role of that position would be in the attachment. And again, we're not tied to that position. We're just, that'll be for a year through that grant. If the grant's still there, we can continue it.
So I need to understand a little bit more about this position, because I'm not sure I understand exactly what that person will be doing.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Okay. And I think she's on.
And how's, it's being paid by the security grant. My thought of this, that's what it says here.
Well, yeah, so this, okay. So.
Yeah.
It's school safety, it's school security and mental health grant. It's how they title it. It's broken up into two components, 117,000 for mental health, 117,000 for school safety. So $234,000 total grant, but it's called school safety and mental health as one grant.
Okay.
All schools have to apply.
Yeah, so I just put the whole title of what the grant is in there.
And
we have to hire the coordinator?
do we, I don't understand what this.
Talking
person-
with Ms. Moss, we felt this would be a good use of that money.
To hire a coordinator.
Do they work out of the district? Do they?
They would be working, yeah, with us in our building, but connecting with the families and so on. And Jeanette, are you on? Hopefully she's on.
I'll see her.
And should it be funded by the 2022-2023 PCC?
I changed it already.
Okay.
Yeah, changed it.
When did you change it? It's still the same number.
About 30
I'm
seconds
just
ago.
refreshing. Changing it right in front of my eyes.
I can add.
So-
I knew you were gonna yell at it.
But this is where this person has more connections to the local agencies from in Allegheny County, connecting our families to these agencies. So,
And
you
who's
know,
supervising this person? And I mean, that's a lot of money.
it'll,
80 something.
Jeanette, Ms. Mosso will be supervising this person.
And do they come to the schools?
They
Do
could,
work out of
they
the
could come to
schools?
the schools, they could go to the homes
You said
directly.
they could. What
Well,
will they do?
They will be out of both schools and
I
be
know,
working at
that's
the
right.
homes.
And we're looking
At the same,
what if the grant goes away? We have.
wherever they're needed at the time, wherever the student need and the family need is at the time.
Yeah.
But this isn't money coming from us. This is all money from the grant.
Yeah.
This is money from the governor put into the budget for this year that
But-
nobody knew about.
But once we hire somebody,
This-
they're our employees.
This-
Yeah.
this
Not
one-
with this
Not
one.
with this position. It's not going to be that, in that manner where this position is still, we're getting this coordinator through, HS, or I have it right here.
HSAO.
So they don't really work for
HSAO.
the district.
No, they
So-
don't really work for the district.
And then whatever they accomplish over this year, will Miss Mosso be, I don't know what word I'm thinking of, like tracking or like, cause what I'm gathering is they're going to be resourceful.
Yes.
So whatever resources that they're bringing, we should be able to maintain and house ourselves in the event that we don't maintain this coordinator role.
Exactly. You know, how can we, if this position is now gone, so that'll be her role to say, all right. And this is why we're looking at the behavior specialist position, realigning the behavior specialist position now. But that's something that we have to work through his firm and because we really want to refine that position to be more qualified on certain things.
And this, I mean, I guess my thought too is with us just also discussing losing our social worker.
Mhm.
So this could kind of pick up some of that work that we will be without.
Yes,
As I'm assuming we would try to replace that role as well, but
that role will be, that's what the role that we're going to try to get redefined on.
this.
So not this role, but the social worker role.
Okay,
Yeah.
because that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
I won't
But
bring
it gives
that
us
up now,
time,
but yeah, it
like
gives
that.
us
Gives us
time.
time. Yeah.
This attachment doesn't really it tells us the qualifications of the agency. It tells us the fees. It says the benefits and accomplishments.
I know what you're going to say because
It's
we've been
not really a
asking
job
for it.
description.
Lisa Ashbaugh. So hopefully we can get something shortly. She's been asking numerous times for like an agreement or something like more concrete. Now they're saying that they don't do it that way, but we kind of figured that you guys were going to ask for that. So we've been trying to get that from them. So
Well, I'd just like to be specific about what they're going to do. It's kind of, linkage to recommended behavioral health services. So, Are they coming into, are they going to be in our schools?
They'll be in our schools, working with the
person.
parents, yes.
Really kind of taking the social workers?
Service coordination services, yeah.
They'll be coordinating the services for the families, yeah, with the local agencies.
Will we get reports on what they do for?
That's what I think. I mean, we should be documenting and tracking whatever they're
Yeah.
doing
I would
for.
hope.
Just
Well,
in,
this
just in
person
case we
reports to
could,
Jeanette,
I
so,
agree with
yeah.
Ashley, just in case, hey, what if we can't keep this position, but how important is it?
Right.
What
How many-
information
Yeah,
and
how many referrals to medical assistants did they do? How many, it's support with enrollment of new students. I don't know what that means.
Well, if we tell Jeanette what metrics we want to hear in
We'll
monthly
get you those
reports, then
metrics,
that's
and
what we'll get.
Ashley
Yeah.
made a very good point.
Is there
And
any
we should-
requirement from the grant funder that we have to show, any,
And can this be covered by the grant?
Yeah, this can be covered by the grant.
For sure.
they're not requiring them.
He's shaking
I
his.
don't, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he doesn't, yeah,
Okay.
we just put in the thing, but yeah, this can be covered by the grant.
Well, I would feel more confident if he said yes.
Yeah, I haven't read the specifications of the grant. I don't know what they are.
Because it's, this is part of that social and emotional learning part of it,
Mhm.
not part of the safety part, it's part of the social and emotional learning.
So if there's 117,000 in that part, then we're spending like 82,000 of it, doesn't leave much left.
We still have, we have some money, and this was a nice added money for us, so. But we already paid for our social emotional, or the assessment tool that we were doing, and then our curriculum program, so it's already been paid for.
What has?
Our assessment tool that we started this year, and our curriculum for pre-K through 2 and 3 through 6. So that was already paid for from a previous grant, I believe, too.
Are you saying that because those are things that this person would use?
No, that's stuff that's already, this
That
person,
we already,
this is not part of that. So using this grant money, we felt was most effective use of that money, because we just don't want to throw money at something that's not going to be effective. We need to connect with our families and get them the resources they need.
Yeah, our
Well,
family.
given that we've had resignations, I agree with Ashley.
A lot of leaving is I think that's from a social work perspective, I think is a big loss.
It's a
for
big loss. I mean,
families.
well, losing a social worker is a big loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we get somebody great in this position, then it'll be awesome for us, you know what I mean? But
Who makes that choice on who the person is?
It can be, we do the interviews. We've been setting up interviews where we have multiple people in the interviews now.
Okay.
for this,
Well, for any positions now. We've had 4th grade teachers in our positions now, or serving on interview committees now. Because I want
Yeah.
multiple perspectives in an interview.
but that doesn't explain, it doesn't answer, do they just send us somebody or do we interview them and pick?
Oh, you mean for this position?
This, for this,
Yeah,
yeah,
for
this is
this
what I'm
position.
talking
Okay,
about.
for this
Yeah.
position. That's something, Jeanette, are you on? Because I can't answer that one.
I am. Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. HSAO, they look at the pool of service coordinators that they have, and they try to match someone who fits our, demographics and the needs that they know we have in our district, which, the service coordination piece really connects what the families need to us at the school, providing them with that support so that, we have kids coming to school more regularly because we have parents who are supported and going out, to behavioral health appointments, and they're supported with someone, either helping them with appointments, helping them with paperwork, getting them to appointments, getting the kiddos to the appointments and things like that. So they really look at a lot of different things, and they'll have a couple people for us to discuss the position with, but they have someone now who they would recommend who has experience, and this person has been with them, I want to say 4 years with HSAO, because they said they wouldn't put anyone in a school district who doesn't have extensive experience, because we're really asking for someone who can do everything from behavioral health to juvenile justice to anything that can come up in the community, drug and alcohol support. We really need someone with, extensive background knowledge, but the ability to work with our families as well.
So isn't this something that our social worker, if she hadn't resigned, was supposed to do? Wasn't this her job?
It was, yes, but it wasn't happening as far as I'm aware.
It wasn't happening.
Well, that's what she said. She's not aware of it. She's only been here a month.
Right, but if we have a position, and I'm just saying, we had a social worker's position that was supposed to do this, and do we need 2 social workers, or are we going to?
Well, I think if we're getting the extra help for a year, provided they send us someone good, we can use it, especially if we're gonna have a brand new social worker on the staff who could probably use a little boost to help get things up and running. So,
She's
yeah.
working on the job description on what, and is this still gonna, we're looking on job description that's not titled social worker, or, go ahead.
I mean, there's, what we found, and, Dr. Joe and I were talking about this and looking at, a homeschool visitor, because we really have a lot of attendance concerns. I was talking to the, people on the SAP team at the beginning of the year, and what happens is toward, after the first 9 weeks and into the second 9 weeks, we get a really high number of kids who've already hit that threshold of 10 unexcused absences. And so once you have that threshold, we are beholden as a district to put together, the student attendance improvement conference and plan. And so those are meetings, that's a written document unique to each student. And so that's another area where the social worker could be helping and working with attendance, and that hasn't been done in the past. That was basically left to that. We had 2 people in attendance before. We had Mr. Graham and Judy Badeau, and now we just have Judy. So there are a couple other positions that sort of, have the social worker / homeschool visitor kind of feel and support to them. But if we combine that in a social worker, we can have a social worker who goes out and makes home visits, but we can't have a homeschool visitor who does any kind of counseling or any kind of therapeutic support with students at school. So the social worker position gives us more flexibility, but the challenge that I think we're going to have is finding someone who has that certificate, because as of August 1st, or anybody new that we hire, August 1st, 2023, we have to have someone with the PDE cert in addition to either the licensed clinical social worker or the licensed social worker through the state. So we're going to be I think it's going to take us a longer time to find someone who is certified and also has the licensing requirement.
So there's going to be a certification for school social workers.
Yes.
As of August 1st, 2023. And so we would have been able to, put Aletta into that position because she has the license and she's been working in the position. So had she stayed, there would have been like a PDE paperwork process to go through, just making sure that her license was up to date, again, renewed clearances and things like that, and getting through that process. But when we hire someone new, we have to hire someone who has the credential through PDE.
Boy, so
It's still not clear to me what we want this person to do. I'm going to support it because we don't have a social worker right now, so I would support it. But if we had a social worker, I would be questioning this position, even if we have the grant money and it's like for a year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same, we hear over and over again, what we need this, we need this with this, we hire this, and the next person comes in and says they're not doing it, we need something else.
Well, I guess I'd like to add, I'm sorry, Ed, I think there's a lot of context too in the changes that happened with our social worker position from when they started to where they have now resigned from. And I know I can't talk about, that type of stuff publicly, but I think that that's something that we should take into consideration in thinking about maybe what Ms. Mwaso came into with the social worker position and what has or hasn't been happening, and how do we adjust that, like Joe just said, moving forward with whoever we bring on. My interest, I guess, in this particular, what I'm hearing at least, is I wasn't aware of what Ms. Monster just said about attendance and what those numbers look like. That in itself to me is a lot. Like if we got 10 kids not coming to school like that, that's intense work for one person to have to do to even come up with a plan to like correct that.
Yeah.
And we need a
So-
homeschool visitor to do that stuff, I
Right.
think. Somebody who can go to the home, which a social worker, I think, can't.
That's what she is working on the job duty
Oh,
description.
okay, okay.
But this is where I'd like to see then some data, because we
Yeah.
never get the data
And
on these
so
things.
And
we'll
that's
ask
what I
for-
didn't, that's why I said I never knew that. So hearing that was surprising, but also I know we've been in a position with our special, all of that.
Yeah,
So,
right.
so yeah, I think there's like to Deb's point, I think there's a lot of data that I would like to hear of what this position could support, but I am in support of this kind of coordinator because I do believe that we do have, although we're a small school district, I think with that, we also know we're a small school district with families that probably do have larger needs that we probably could have more of a capacity to support them on. So I just, to Deb's point, I agree. I hear you, Deb. We do need more information. I don't want us to just say we're doing it because we got the grant. We should be able to kind of like back that up. Why? Because whoever's doing this, that's a nice salary for the year. So
that's probably.
And I will tell you, that's the fee that we pay to HSAO. The salary is probably about 2/3 of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Salary benefits.
Okay.
HSAO is,
Got it. Yeah.
That's all the overhead that we
Makes
got.
sense. Okay.
So,
And you
That-
did
and
ask,
providing the
Lisa,
benefits and everything.
you asked Lisa Oshball for agree, like, and she said that they don't provide that.
She said they
Well,
usually, like, I have a letter here. I had sent it to Rick. I'm not sure if it was included in the board notes. The actual description of the position, there's a 2-page document, or actually maybe a 3-page document from HSAO that I included.
Yeah.
we have a letter from them.
And on the second page, it talks about, the specific activities, because I was trying to be very general with it. But I think when you look at some of the things, like we're able to have this person help to get medical assistance, expedited enrollment for kiddos who need behavioral health services right away. There's, if with enrollment of new students, we had a student who came to us from Pittsburgh Public who had such a high level of need, even as a little 4th grader, that we weren't going to be able to keep him safe in our building. He was eloping from the classroom, eloping from the building, eloping from school property at Oliver Citywide. So we had to work to get him placed, but it took a service coordinator, another representative from Allegheny County who was helping the family to get the family to the intake process, to get them then to the acceptance process and to the IEP meeting process. So sometimes our students with outside placements, when the family just can't come to the neighborhood school, that's another barrier. And so, in trying to eliminate some of these barriers to getting kids started right away, getting them enrolled and getting them, active in their placement, whether it's with our school or an outside placement, this is where the service coordination really, like we had a service coordinator who spent the entire day with his family getting the new student enrolled in Friendship Academy. So it's things like that, and then they participate in the SAP process. They can come to IEP meetings if the parents want them to come, to either present information or share something about the student. And that's another support, to the parent. And again, any of our kids with juvenile probation or children, youth, and families, that is something that Aletta was very active in working with CYF. And we will, need someone to work, with me on those students who are coming to us with a variety of needs, whether there's a best interest determination happening, or if it's one of our students who needs support.
And is this a
So how
12-month position,
Do you know if it's a 12-month position?
or is this just for the?
I talked to Lisa about this, and it usually would run as like the way our school psychologists and counselors would work, like 10 months plus 10 days.
Okay. Do you know how soon the person would start?
We would have to talk to the couple people that she's identified, but they're available. I mean, upon board approval, they can have someone to our building the next day.
I mean,
Isn't this a position you had before, like
We've had these, they come and go.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because when my daughter transferred over, she had an IEP, and then the HSAO was trying to assist me in things, and I didn't need any additional services, but she was like harassing me, like, let me help you. And I'm like, you can't come to my house, I don't, other than her IEP needs, like, we didn't need anything additional, but it was helpful to know someone was there to get you enrolled in any of those, like, additional services or needs that our kids,
Yeah,
our
we
kids
definitely
face.
have the needs. It's just,
Well, yeah, I'll be okay with it. Any other questions on this?
Oh,
For
we
now?
know how to dig in, y'all.
It's not a bad.
No, it's not. It's not. I just crack up. I love
Not a
us.
bad thing. Board actions
ESL.
requested to approve the AIU to provide ESL services, the annual fee of $120, $90 per minute, and $3.25 for video translation services. And there's an attached agreement or MOU.
Is that 90 cents per minute and $3.25 for video translation services, including that 120?
It's per minute. The 325 is per minute. I'll add that.
325.
So that's in addition to the 120 fee,
120 is an annual.
including those two things?
No.
Oh, so the annual fee plus those per minute fees?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll add it per minute. Per video.
Okay, got it.
Board action to approve, request to approve the Act 93 increase of 5% for Terry McClellan effective July 1, 2022. Receipt of additional funds, board actions requested to acknowledge the receipt of an additional $102,000, which is $1,500 per student for the 68 of the pre-K funds of the 22-23 school year. And some more funds. They keep coming. Board actions requested to approve an additional 17 pre-K transfer slots and an additional $170,000. And again, that would be used to hire teacher, an aide, and lunch aide.
And the class is already full.
No, these
I
are new
thought-
kids, right?
These will be new ones, but no, what
I
she's
thought-
saying is
yeah,
the class is already.
They already have the wait list.
Wait list
filled.
there.
Yeah.
Yes, we have enough students to fill a whole class.
Let's go, y'all.
Yeah, Summer's done a really good
I
job.
know, right? I do think we talked about the classroom. It's not where all the other pre-K classrooms are, but they do have a classroom.
We're actually going to have them actually on the same floor. We moved since Spanish, the Spanish teacher resigned. We decided to use that classroom for Spanish and move Spanish to a different area in the building. So at least K and pre-K can all be on the same floor. So
That
the
sounds
move has
good.
already happened.
Yep.
All right. Back to that, approve the attachment agreement with Oz for facility exploration at a cost not to exceed $3,500.
We do get a list of school bus drivers.
Oh, geez, sorry. Yeah, we have to approve our bus drivers and make it part of the minutes. They're not our employees, but
Yeah,
we
no,
just
I-
have to for liability purposes.
Yeah, I just was having some conversations in regards to transportation and bus drivers. So I'm glad to know that we as a district do have a list.
And they have everything's on file here.
Yeah.
We need to approve an intermittent FMLA for Diana and Audie.
Oh, yeah. I talked to
Outside,
executive session.
okay.
No, it's for 6, right?
Oh, is it really?
6 months.
Okay, I looked
I'm
up.
sorry. Yeah, you're right, Ed. It's only
It's intermittent for 6 months, right?
1 month.
This only says 1 month, September to October.
That's what her paperwork said. But it did say 6 months, but then the dates were that, so I just looked at dates. Then it's 60 days regardless. So,
Yeah, it's gonna take some time.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll tweak that if we have to by next week. I'll talk. Also, we need to approve our bus stops for this year. Which would cover us liability wise, so make sure that kids get off the stops, if something happens, we're approved.
Okay.
The federal program consultant, this is the Nancy Olenek company that we have been using for our federal programs. We'll probably have to start thinking about this throughout the year, because this probably will be the last year of our company. So that's something we need.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah. On the, it's a lot of
Worth
work.
every penny.
Yeah, she is, especially on the educational side of it.
Mhm.
And then the next three are the non-pub agreements for the contracts that we have to approve that they use these providers, Step by Step, AIU 3, and then Sound Foundations. There will be one more coming. They haven't done it yet. Mount Oliver, IU 2. They approve theirs before they send it to us. These we approve first and send it to them.
So everybody gets it. When we get a great big pot of Title I money, non-public schools in our area are entitled to their share of that money, but the way they spend it has to be approved by us. So this isn't really our money. It's grant money that comes to us, and part of it is on behalf of non-public schools like Catholic schools.
Correct. It's a pass-through.
Yeah.
Someone reached out to me about this and I had no idea what they were talking about from Pucks.
Yeah.
Someone who works at Pucks, and she's a sweet lady, but this is what she was asking me about, and now I understand. So this is all moving forward, and they'll get their money once we vote, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So Rick, for the step by step, there's no date of agreement. It should at least be in the motion that it's for the academic year.
Yeah.
That needs to be in the motion.
I'll put them in all three because I don't see it in any of them.
Right, it's not in any of the three, but
I'll put fiscal year 22-23.
For the non-pub, it was, I guess it is now, the non-pub service sound foundations. If you look at item number 4, it says that the place where the services will be rendered is at the Redeemer Lutheran Church in Verona.
Okay.
Do we pay for for a school in Verona? The church?
Yes, we have a student there.
There you go.
Really?
I was surprised also.
Oh.
Wow.
Verona.
The Redeemer Lutheran Church, 700 Idaho Avenue, Verona.
Is that school like in the category of outplacements or?
No,
It's a parochial.
It's a private.
It's a parochial.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I get it. Okay. Huh. Okay. Okay then. All right, next week we will, if anybody's absent, we'll have a vote to excuse them, and then we can
Did we do the
adjourn.
last one?
Yes, Debbie had questions about it. That's the Lutheran school in Verona. isn't it?
Oh, that's what that one was. That's why I was
It's-
confused. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got it.
it's almost an Oakmont.
Yeah, my son went there for kindergarten,
Yeah.
actually. It was about 15 minutes. It's not far. And then, yeah,
Oh, yeah, so
I know
kind
other families in like.
There's not a school anywhere that Monica hasn't been involved with in some way, shape, or
We
form.
try in a lot of schools. Yeah.
All right, okay, that's it. We have executive session now. Jermaine, thank you for being here. You can unplug us. Thank you so much. Seriously. Yeah, it's gotta get.
10:14. I think I can get home by 11 o'clock.
Actually, no.
Maybe.
No, wait, we're still on the computer.
Okay.
Good night, Summer.
Oh, you need the clearance.
Yes. Well, we haven't, no, I don't think we do. There was one candidate before, so I'll just talk to you.
Cut us off, Jermaine. Cut us off. Cut us off.
Right down, so